And everybody, I know normally you see the opening, but I have some sad news to report. Mainly also the reason why we didn't do the show last week, and it was on the passing of my dog Rex. He passed away 2 Thursdays ago at the old age of 14 years old. In 12 years of doing podcasts, and this is the toughest thing I've ever had to do. I knew this day was going to come. I just didn't think it was going to be like this. Rex, we've had Rex basically since he was born, which was 2009. And throughout the years, he was always devious, mischievous, however you want to look at it. There would be times when he would turn around and he would do something devious, and he would give you that look and be like, well, what did I do? I did nothing wrong. There are times where he would bundle his way down the stairs, and now he's out of pain. And like I said before, this is the toughest thing I've had to do in 12 years of doing podcasting. Rex, if you can hear me, buddy, because I know you're sitting right next to me now, I miss you. I absolutely love you. And there will never be another Rex. You were a pain in the ass, but you were my pain in the ass. Again, you are out of pain now, buddy. I greatly miss you and all that. So from this day forward, I'm actually renaming the studios where I do the show down here the Rex Express Studios. I love you. I miss you. And I'll see you again soon. Now, on to the show. Good. Oh, hold on. I forgot. I hit the wrong. You think the first time I'm doing this. But good evening, everybody. How we doing for a live Around the Ropes podcast episode right here on the new ATR network. Now, guys, as you can see, I'm Ryan solo tonight. Ryan's off-site doing some other stuff. So, and I don't have anybody else joining as far as guests go, as far as co-host goes. Let me put it that way. As far as guests go, we have quite a bit of guests. At 8:30, making his debut on the podcast, it was announced a couple days ago that he will be making his return to Immortal Championship Wrestling the middle of September for Immortal 30. The one, the only, Bill Collier will be joining us at 8:30. Then at 9:30, the one and only Garrett Holiday makes his sixth appearance, I have no idea anymore, I lost count, on this show. Again, both promoting Immortal 30, happening September 16th in Westmoreland, New York. You can definitely still get your tickets. And actually, talking about Immortal Championship Wrestling, I just want to bring up one big thing here quickly. It was reported. I reported it. What am I kidding? That we are now the unofficial voice of Immortal Championship Wrestling. So you'll be hearing a lot more about Immortal Championship Wrestling on this program in the weeks and months to come. Now that's all out of the way. We also have, again, guys, you can definitely leave your comments below. Definitely be reading it. Essentially, guys, you guys are my co-hosts tonight. Because, like I said before, I don't have somebody else on with us till 8:30. But I just want to go share the show quickly, and then we will get going here. And again, guys, like I said, you can find us on any social media site you can think of. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, you name it, we're there. Definitely. Oh God, I'm hearing myself. That's not good. But we also have, in addition to that, we will also get into All In tonight as the house show, however the frick you want to call it, is this coming Sunday live from Wembley Stadium. So you're not going to want to miss that. So we'll definitely get into that as well. And we'll also get into some other stuff as well. Just give me 1 second here. I'm just sharing the show quickly. We're also going to get into a little bit of Raw and Dynamite from last week because yeah, that Texas Chainsaw, whatever the fuck you want to call it, was a complete catastrophe. In my opinion, it did nothing. But just again, give me 1 second, folks. I'm just trying to share the show. Actually, first thing I want to get into was what happened this past Sunday down in Fairfield, New Jersey. WrestleBash 2, run by the Asylum Wrestling Store. Great group of guys there, from David, from Nick, you name it. Great group. I've been to a lot of conventions now over the years, and that was probably one of the better conventions I have been to. It was done properly. It was done well. It was run incredibly smooth. So I applaud them big time. And, all them Rocky, they're all great group of guys and gals as well. Can't forget that. But just give me 1 second, folks. I'm just trying to share the show so we can get people to tune in. Because like I said, folks, you guys are my co-hosts tonight. Oh, okay. We actually have our guest joining us. Let me bring in our guest now. It actually makes it a lot easier. Guys, joining us right now. Last time you guys saw him was in Immortal Championship Wrestling was back in February when he defended his title against Spencer Slade in the main event. And you will see him again coming up in September 16th, as he makes his triumphant return. The one, the only, Bill Collier. Bill, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you? It's good to be on. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. But let's first get into it now. How do you feel being that you're making your return to Immortal since you've been out, since you haven't been there since February?
It feels fantastic. I started Immortal late last year, and by the time I did, my schedule had filled up, and I'm really trying to make the end of 2023 and the start of 2024 and into the future. I'm trying to make Immortal somewhere that I'm at more often. I enjoy the environment. I enjoy the locker room. The fans, above all else, are absolutely amazing.
I completely agree. I've been now to basically February was my first Immortal show, and I've been to every show since. And I completely agree about the fan base. That the fan base is probably one of the most electric fan bases I've ever seen.
They are, and they're really passionate about the product there. So as you saw in February, between Spencer Slade and myself, we went out and tried to deliver the best match that we could. And forgive me for saying this out loud, but I think we delivered.
Oh, no, you guys, I said this about Spencer Slade when I started him at the show in February. He looks like a younger Kurt Angle to me.
Oh, absolutely. He is. Speaking of Spencer Slade, and I'm pretty vocal about this, both privately and publicly. I'm really high on Spencer Slade. I think that independent wrestling promotions need to book him while they can, because it's not going to be long before he has a big money television contract and he's off the market forever. I don't think anyone that I've seen personally work harder than Spencer Slade does. And being that I'm around Spencer a good bit, Spencer Slade pushes me to be hard, to work harder and to be better, because I can see young Spencer, and that gives me a lot of motivation. It adds fuel to my tank, seeing somebody that young with that much raw talent and ability, and who works that much harder than anyone else I've seen. And I'm not just saying that. I'm really vocal about that. Spencer Slade is one of the hardest working guys that I've seen on the indies.
Well, and I completely agree. I mean, I saw him a couple of times over the year. I know he's been doing a lot of stuff now down in Maryland, for Maryland Championship Wrestling. Mm-hmm. So I commend him a lot. But I want to get back into you for a second. What got you into pro wrestling? What made you want to become a pro wrestler?
I get asked that question a lot. And my answer is, I guess it's just that one thing I've never grown out of. Many people tell stories about being wrestling fans as kids and, sitting around the TV on Saturday mornings, or, with an older relative, whether it be, a grandfather or grandmother, or, a mom or a dad, uncles, older brothers. Many people have those stories. And what ends up happening is, as people grow a little older, they kind of fall off from professional wrestling. it was just that one thing I guess I've never grown out of. The more I watched it, the more I fell in love with it, the more passionate about it I became.
And especially the fact there's not, when you look at especially big men, because you're most wrestlers, especially in Immortal, for example, are not tall. You're one of the taller guys in Immortal.
I'm about 6'4", and on this day I weigh about 250 pounds. Not as quite as heavy as I was 10 years ago, but hey, we're all getting older and we're all trying.
I completely agree. But I just think with somebody like your stature and somebody of your build, I'll say this right now, I'm surprised you're not signed yet, to be honest.
A lot of people don't know this. I had a few looks years ago, and WWE hired who's known as Big Bill now in AEW, Big Cass. We were in the same tryout camp, but I'm a little older than most people think. There's not much investing in someone my age, but that doesn't mean I still can't chip away and still can't see what's out there.
And I think honestly, with because you've been wrestling now for how long?
So what's 2006, 2007? So what are we looking at? 17 years or so?
So the fact of somebody like you who has a lot of the experience, and especially when you do go back to Immortal, do you get a lot of the younger guys coming up to you, asking you for advice?
Absolutely, I do. And I'll go ahead and I'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit. The current Immortal champion, Garrett Holiday, I was just messaging him, minutes ago, and it was nutrition, like gym advice. What can I do? How can I do this? How can I? And it's, hey, here's what I do. I don't know if it's going to work for you, but this is what I do if you want to give it a try. And I do get a lot of the younger guys that do come up to me for advice and do ask for, help. Hey, I'm thinking of this and that, and they ask my opinion, and that goes a long way. I mean, that means a lot to me that I'm looked up to like that.
I can see why though. Like I said, you've been doing this long enough. I mean, other than Immortal, I know you're also very big in excitement. I'll get to Excite in a second because I know you have a big match that you just announced prior to us going live tonight.
So you know what the match is, and I don't because I haven't seen the match yet. So when you tell everyone, I'll hear it just like everyone else does.
Oh, okay, let me double check then just to make sure I read it correctly then, because I kind of glanced over it for a second. And I was like, oh, okay, it's an interesting match. I mean, give me 1 second here because I saw it moments ago. And when I saw it, I was like, I could see that working out. Because again, guys, Excite Wrestling, we'll get back into Immortal in a second here, but Excite Wrestling is doing a show September 3rd.
September 3rd, yep.
And it looks like from what I'm looking at here, I gotta see if I can pull the card up here for a second. I did see something that you're taking on Rick Recon, apparently.
Rick Recon. Okay, this is the first time hearing about it, and honestly, I've met Rick Recon, and I'm looking forward to having matches with Rick Recon and punching him in his face and knocking him out cold.
Very, very, very quick and to the point. I like it.
Absolutely, it's nothing personal, Rick Recon. It's just business.
Sure. Let me ask. Is it because of the fact that he has, that he's trying to go for the same type of hairstyle as you?
It may be. He does have a gorgeous head of hair, and he better watch it because I kind of have the market cornered on that. So he is kind of stepping on my toes a little bit. So I may have to have him answer for that.
And I know the big attraction who they're bringing in for that show is actually Super Crazy.
Yes. I'm not sure if I've ever been on an event with Super Crazy or not. But obviously, if you've seen any of Super Crazy's matches, you know what to expect. I mean, him versus Sean Carr, I believe, is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And if I'm not, out somewhere in the audience where I can see it, I'll be near a monitor for sure.
And it's funny, you bring up Sean Carr. That's another guy from Immortal who I think is very underrated, especially he had a match in Cobblestill recently. And he took on Lindsay Dorado.
And I'm sure that was absolutely phenomenal.
It was, and I said it on this podcast, actually. It was my match of the night.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was. Sean Carr is, if Again, I would put him in a category with Spencer Slade, that if I could wrestle only 5 more people for as long as I do this, Spencer Slade would probably be one. Sean Carr would probably be one.
And well, then at the last one, the one that Immortal just had up in Utica, he was in the triple threat match with Colin Delaney and Enzo.
Okay, yeah. Again, I'm sure that Sean Carr did extremely well in that too. Extremely talented. He's a great guy. I get along with Sean Carr fantastic. But again, if he's standing across the ring from me and I hear the bell, he's got to pay as well.
So it's not so much of personal or not. It's if they're in the ring, doesn't matter who's.
It's all business, and if we're gonna shoot here a little bit, that's how I get paid. I get paid to beat people up. That's something I enjoy doing. The better I beat people up, the more money I make. That's a win-win for me.
Hey, it's the best way to look at it.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter if it takes you 5 minutes or it takes you 20 minutes.
Absolutely. And again, you've heard this expression before, I'm sure. I'm not punching a time clock out there. If I can get in and out of there in 3 minutes, that's what we'll do.
Now, I remember this going back to February when you took on Spencer Slade, and there was a story there that you guys were telling.
Yep.
Are you more, when you're in the ring, are you more of a storyteller type wrestler, or more of a go in, try to get the moves and that type of stuff?
No, I've never been a move wrestler. If you've seen one of my matches, you've seen every move that I do. I'm not a move wrestler. To me, I like to tell a story in the ring. I like to engage an audience. I like to have them feel. And if there's feeling there, an emotional connection, they connect with you. And when they do, that's how you get return customers. That's how they come back to see you again and again and again, is if they connect with you as a person. And that's what I really look to do. The moves to me are secondary to the story that I'm telling. I'm a story guy.
And that's one thing we talk a lot about on the show is, especially I talk about a lot, is when you get matches that have the story in it. Because to me, as a fan, I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, I'm spending a half hour, especially when I come to Immortal, from where I'm coming from, I'm coming all the way out from Long Island.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a hike.
Absolutely, it is.
But the biggest thing I always tell people, because I've had people who look at me, they're like, how come you make the trip all the way up there? I'm like, A, it's great wrestling, and B, it's the storytelling.
Yeah.
And that's very big to me, is storytelling. I don't want to sit there and watch a match for the sake of watching a match.
No, and and I'm not knocking the guys that do a lot of moves and that are athletic and can do that. That's fantastic. If that's their cup of tea, that's fine, because there's absolutely a market for that. For me, I'm a story guy. And you asked earlier what made me fall in love with wrestling. Stories and personalities, they were larger than life, and that's what drew me in. So while I'm in front of an audience, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to paint my own picture, and I'm trying to get the audience to connect the way that I did with this.
And I noticed that when you took on Spencer Slade back in February, is you had the story there. It was basically you got somebody of your stature who's been in this industry long enough, and you got Spencer Slade, who's I think relatively new, if I remember correctly.
Probably 3 years or so. If I had to take an educated guess and put a number on it, 3 years, maybe 4. And he is light years better than his experience would lead you to believe.
And that's the one thing I noticed in that match that you guys had, was you guys had the story there of, okay, you have the veteran and the rookie, so to speak, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the rookie trying to prove the veteran wrong. And I noticed that greatly when you took on Spencer Slade. But obviously, like I said before, when we open up this interview, you are you're coming back to Immortal September 16th. Is there anybody in particular you're looking at as far as saying, okay, I haven't been in Immortal in a couple months, that's the person I want to go in the ring with?
Right now, my focus is laser pointed on the champion. That's, as far as I'm concerned. Garrett Holiday is the champion right now, and that's fantastic. but he's holding on to my property as far as I'm concerned. So Garrett Holiday is directly in my sights, and anyone that Immortal puts in front of me between now and Garrett Holiday, they're, let's just put it like this, they're in my way, and I will dispose of whoever I need to on the way back to the championship, and it doesn't matter. And Immortal's full of good talent, and when I look around the locker room, there's not really bad options around there. There's a lot of really good options. Like, okay, that guy's a good option. That guy's a good option. And as far as like giving the fans their money's worth, you can put me in the ring with anybody there, and I'm going to make sure I deliver on that.
Oh, I completely agree. I completely agree on that one. And it's actually funny you mentioned Garrett. Garrett's actually coming on the show at 9:30.
All right. Well, let him know I was here, and I'm looking very forward to seeing him.
Now, obviously, I know you also do a lot of wrestling in PA as well.
Yes.
Now, have you noticed a difference in the crowd from PA compared to upstate New York?
All the audiences that I work in front of are a little different. It's just a matter of, for me, fine tuning the instruments, so to speak, to the audience. I don't just, it's not a one size fits all act for me. I just don't go through the curtain and, well, this is what I do here, so this is what I do everywhere. For me, it's fine tuning. The audience that I'm in front of will get how do I put this? Almost a custom version of a wrestling match from me, depending on where I'm at. Now, somewhere like Immortal, where I'm not really familiar with the audience and how they react and what they like and what they don't, what I have to do is, if I'm lucky enough to be on a little later, is I have to sit down and I'll do this anyway. Sit down and watch the matches before me. For one, study my opponent. Two, see what the audience is into, see what they're in the mood for, because it could be a different thing, even though it's the same audience. It could be a different thing from month to month.
And no, because I go to a lot of shows in Jersey as well, and and obviously I've gone to shows in Jersey, I've gone to shows on Long Island, and I've gone to shows in upstate New York. And from a fan's perspective,
yes,
it depends on. I'm going to say this right now: the fans in upstate New York are much more respectful of the wrestlers than Jersey.
Okay.
Because Jersey, I have seen it already. They get rowdy. There's also no barricades, so you're really close up with the wrestlers.
Let them try that with me. Let them.
Yeah, no, exactly. One more question I got for you for Immortal, and then I got actually two more questions for you.
Sure.
Anybody on, like I said, I know you've been out of Immortal now for a couple months. Is there anybody in Immortal that you've been kind of keeping your eye on? I know you said before Garrett Holiday, but anybody else who you've been keeping an eye out on?
As far as that goes, no, not particularly. I keep track of the entire roster, and so to me, anyone's an option. It doesn't matter who it is. They're all options for me. Especially since I'm I'm a story guy. I'm also a firm believer in whatever the promotion booked, that's what I'm going to do. If they book, me versus, Vince Valor or, Thomas Kennedy or whoever, Sean Carr, that's what I'm going to do.
And last question I got is this, and I asked this to all the independent wrestlers who we have on. If you have the opportunity to face anybody, past or present, doesn't matter what promotion, territory, whatever.
Okay.
Who would it be? Who is that one person you would love to face?
I'm not sure that it's one. I can give you probably a good few that, like, coming up from my childhood.
Yeah.
The Undertaker was always like my number one guy. So to me, that would have been like, wow, an opportunity to wrestle the Undertaker. Anyone that's close to me knows that I'm a big Cena guy. I'm not sure why more people aren't. For as much as John Cena's done for the wrestling business over the past 20 years, he, in my opinion, had the most difficult job in the professional wrestling business. He had to carry the only major wrestling company in the world on his back for almost 20 years, following the most popular era with PG restrictive handcuffs, and did a phenomenal job. So, like, if you don't appreciate John Cena for that, I'm not sure what to say. But lastly, one of the guys that I feel like, man, like I would click on all cylinders with, but everyone kind of does, would be Randy Orton. Like that level of good is unheard of. Orton is like next level phenomenal. I tell people all the time, if you're going to watch somebody, watch Randy Orton. There's no wasted motion. Everything he does means something. And he has such a presence when he's in the ring, and he looks like a wrestler. Again, he is everything that a wrestler should be.
All three of them, I can completely see you two, if it was you and Undertaker, you and Cena, or you and Orton, like you just said, I think all three of them would be perfect opponents for you. And Bill, it was an honor to have you on tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Before we let you go, though, where can people find you on social media, and what events do you have coming up that you like to promote?
Upcoming, let me think. I will be at, where am I? I will be at Excite on September 3rd. I know that. And I will be at Empire State Wrestling September 23rd. Those are the two I know offhand, because September 23rd, I'm fighting my brother-in-law, my real-life brother-in-law, Vince Valor, at ESW. And the winner of that gets a shot at the ESW Heavyweight Championship. So, like I said to some of the other guys earlier, I mean, he may be my brother-in-law, but I'm going to put him down. I mean, that's what we got to do. You can find me on Facebook, Bill Collier, or on Twitter at bigbillcollier.com, or Twitter. But that's pretty much where you can find me on social media. And look forward to seeing me at Excite on September 3rd, Immortal September 16th, and ESW September 23rd.
And again, Bill, you always have an open door with this show. Anytime you like to come back on, the door is always open for you, my friend.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. The pleasure was all mine.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
And guys, that was Bill Collier, who just joined us. Guys, if you have not got a chance to see Bill Collier in action, I would highly recommend you do that, because, just give me 1 second. I just want to make sure nothing came up. And yeah, like I said, you definitely do not want to miss seeing Bill Collier in action. Like I said before, last time I saw him was back in February in the main event of Road to Immortality. Was it Road to Immortality? I think it was Road to Immortality. If somebody from Immortal's watching, they can remind me, because I don't remember which one. But we're going to keep things moving here right now, because again, guys, we got a lot more to get to. We got Garrett Holiday coming on at 9:30. We're going to get into our predictions of All In. We're going to get into plenty more. And again, guys, leave your comments below. You guys are the co-hosts tonight. Obviously, like you guys can see, I said this before and I'll say it again, I'm riding solo tonight. So definitely leave your comments below. If you want to hop on, message me on Facebook and definitely have you hop on. But guys, let's get back into, actually, I want to get back into the Texas Chainsaw death match that we saw this past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite between Jeff Hardy and Jeff Jarrett. What the fuck was that? I'm sorry. That was probably the most WWE crap I have seen ever. And I was listening, I'm going to say it right now, I was listening to Busted Open from Monday, and they were talking about it. Of course, Dave had his typical La Greca rant, but he made a valid point. What they should have done was you should have had Cole and MJF. You've been having that do this whole thing of, these wonky segments leading up to their main event match, which I'm going to get to that in a second. Why couldn't you just have them play the video game and that's it? And I mean, I applauded AEW big time for the donation that they made. I think it was something like $10,000 from what I saw. But that was the biggest load of crap I've ever seen on AEW, in the 4 or 5 years that AEW's been around for. It made no sense. And then you give him a belt? It's like, okay, Mr. Jarrett, we know you've been wrestling for a while, but here's a belt for you to defend against anybody else, that you want. I mean, come on. There was a comment that AEW is the alternative to WWE. I'm sorry, that Texas Chainsaw match was WWE to a T. And you're going to sit there and tell me that I want anybody who's watching this right now, if you like that match, comment below. Let me know how you like that match, because I think you're insane. That was probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Again, the purpose of it, I totally agree with. It allowed, for a donation to the Maui disaster relief, which I'm totally in favor of. But you're going to turn around and tell me that that's how you're going to freaking do it? Come on, people. I mean, Tony, I know half the time you think through being a wrestling fan, but you got to think better than that, my man. You're going to sit there and tell me when you're putting the show together, you're going to sit there and tell me, oh, we're going to have Jeff Hardy take on Jeff Jarrett. I mean, come on. That has to be the stupidest thing I have ever seen on AEW. Let me put it this way, from a perspective of in-ring competition. I've seen AEW do wonkier things over the years. Don't get me wrong. But the Texas Chainsaw, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I'm sorry. To me, that's a little stupid, to put it nicely, a little moronic. But I also want to get into this thing with AEW, because obviously we'll get into All In later on. And the 0 Hour match is Aussie Open, who are your current Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, taking on the team of MJF and Adam Cole. Okay, I got no problem with that. But I do have a problem with the fact that the only thing I'm thinking here, and if you're watching this, write comment below, tell me if I'm wrong here. They have to be setting something up. They seriously have to. Because to me, why would you have your two biggest stars right now, in MJF and Adam Cole, challenge for the Ring of Honor tag titles, and then later on in the show challenge each other for Maxwell's World Heavyweight title? From a booking perspective, it makes no sense. The only thing I think they could have done, if they want to do this better, and this is just my thinking, is they could have held off on Aussie Open with MJF and Adam Cole until All Out, which, by the way, folks, that's only a week later. Let's just call it what it is. But then you're going to sit there and tell me that that would have made sense. Or what you could have done is you could have flipped it. You could have done Aussie Open and MJF and Cole at All In, and then had that lead to the other match at All Out. To me, just from a booking perspective, we do got a comment coming in here from Shayna Waters, who says they're definitely setting something up. That's my only thinking, is they have to be setting something up. Because I don't understand from a booking perspective. And then I know, there's a few other things going on right now with All In. I know they just announced today that Rey Fenix will not be able to go due to having visa issues. So they're probably going to have to alter the stadium, which, okay, I want to get to the Stadium Stampede match here for a second. I think it's going to be an absolute great match. Don't get me wrong on that. But when they did the Stadium Stampede in the lockdown era, when it was, when they were in Jacksonville, why? Then it made sense, because you had the guys repelling. You had an empty how the hell are they going to pull this one off? When you're in an arena full of, last I checked, I think it was over 80,000. So how are you going to pull that one off? They might as well just call it Anarchy. I think they should have called it Anarchy in the Arena. Stick with the UK theme. I think that would have been perfect. And that's to me, I think the best way to go about it is you're going to sit there and tell me that, we're going to do a Stadium Stampede match, but it's going to be with 80,000 people in the arena? Come on. To me, it's just AEW, if they want to succeed, and this has been a big topic, even as of recent, this has become a big topic. If AEW wants to become something and not a fly-by-night promotion, they got to change some stuff up. And I'm not saying this because, I'm an expert, I know what I'm talking about. No. I'm talking about this from a fan's perspective who enjoys this industry, who enjoys the sport. Yes, am I more involved in it now than I used to be? You bet your ass I am. But you're going to turn around and tell me that what AEW is, is good right now? Because actually, this is the question I want to ask anybody who's watching. Take out All In, because All In right now to me is an anomaly. A lot of it might feel the reason why they are getting 80,000 plus people in Wembley Stadium. It's the first time that AEW is going to London. You take All In and put it anywhere in the States. Put it in Madison Square Garden. Put it in TD Garden up in Boston. Put in the Wells Fargo Center down in Philly. Put it in, go down the list. Put it in, any stadium out in Cali. Put it any stadium. You're not getting 80,000 people. You just got to call it how I see it. You're probably getting half of that, if not 3/4 less than what you got in London. So if you take All In out of the picture, what exactly is AEW doing correct right now? And that's the question I'm going to leave to you guys. What is AEW doing correct right now? Because I'll tell you right now, personally, I don't think they're doing anything correct. If they were doing more stuff correct, then they would have, they wouldn't be, 800,000 every week in viewership. And god damn, their women's division would at least be something. I'll be honest, you look at the women's division right now, if your name is, and I've said this for as long as AEW's been around for. Yeah. Got a comment coming in here saying right now AEW isn't doing anything correctly. Yeah, that's my point. And I'm not saying this because I'm an AEW hater. I am somebody who wants to see professional wrestling cherish. And I want to see professional wrestling become something. Yet, you look at AEW right now, and they're making these boneheaded moves. That it's like, what the hell are you doing right now? And you're going to turn around and tell me that and I would love somebody who's watching this to let me know what AEW is doing correct. Because again, look at the ratings, for example. AEW has been around since 2019, or no, 2018. I said 2018 or 2019. I don't remember exactly which one. And I think they've hit 1 million views maybe once or twice in 4 years. In 4 or 5 years, yet you have a company that everybody always loves bitching on with WWE and Monday Night Raw, and even on a bad night, Monday Night Raw pulls in over a 1. It seems like AEW, for some reason, does not attract the casual fan. And one of the interviews that I'm going to be dropping this week is an interview I did with Robin Lundberg, who, if you know, he used to work for ESPN. Now he's on Mad Dog Radio on Sirius XM, and he does occasional guest spots on Busted Open. And he made the comment in the interview, and he turned on, he said, look, he doesn't watch pro wrestling as much as he used to. But you look at what WWE is doing right now, and you're invested. Most people are invested in the Bloodline storyline, 100%. Yet you look at You look at what AEW is doing. What exactly are they doing that makes you want to invest? They have long-term storytelling with them is like next to nothing. They haven't done any real long-term storytelling. It's more of, okay, well, we have a show, let's put on matches, and that's it. They're more, I look at this way, when it comes to AEW, they're more week by week. They're not more in it for the storytelling part. Yet you look at what they've done. I mean, and I'm being straightforward right now. What storyline wise, what storyline are you invested in right now when it comes to AEW? The BCC, with Moxley and Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. Okay, I'll give you that much. There, but to me that comes off Shield 2.0. Let's call it what it is. Yet you look at another one. You look at is, you look at the women's division. The women's division right now in AEW to me is an absolute joke because Thunder Rosa is still out right now, so she's not back yet. They've relied so much on Britt Baker for that division that it's like everybody else just comes secondary. I mean, I laugh. Heading into All In, they did this tournament, and Ryan explained this to me, and like I said, unfortunately, Ryan's not on tonight, but I didn't understand it at first. You set up this whole tournament because you're gonna have a fatal 4-way at All In, and obviously, as if you saw the graphic, it's Hikaru Shida, Toni Storm, Saraya, and Britt Baker. Does anybody think Hikaru Shida is walking out of Wembley? Excuse me, out of Wembley Stadium with that title? Because I personally don't think so. I think right now, the way I'm looking at it, obviously we'll get into the predictions, towards more towards the second hour of the show tonight. But I can't. They have to do something different with that women's division. I don't care what you got to do. You got to do something different. Because the women of AEW, you have some very talented women there. Abaddon. You have Penelope Ford. You have, I'm trying to think of who else you have off the top of my head. You have the Bunny. You have women who should be utilized better. And I don't feel like they're being utilized the right way. You got Taya Valkyrie there. And most of them are, okay, how about your TBS champion right now, Chris Statlander? They're not doing anything with her. They're not doing anything with her. And to me, it's absolutely ridiculous. Got another comment coming in here saying, if Tony used more people more than he is using, I think more people would be more interested in AEW. Again, I don't hate AEW, but I think I would be more interested. Yeah. I feel like when you look at AEW, and again, guys, I don't want this to become a AEW bashing session because believe me, I'm a fan of AEW. I put them over, but and obviously I know we have some people who are watching the show for the first time, but one thing about me when it comes to the show is I will put people over, but then I will also rip them a new one when they need to get ripped a new one. And you look at with what they're doing, I don't think what they're doing right now is the right thing. I really don't. I think right now, I mean, I said this before. You look at the World Heavyweight title. Okay, Maxwell's done great. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of his. But they've done nothing with him. They've done really nothing. I mean, the fact that, okay, I'll give you this much. Christian Cage right now, who's not the champion, but is holding the belt because he feels like he's the champion, which again makes no sense. But again, it kind of fits his character being a prick. It's the same thing with him. You look at, obviously we mentioned the TBS title before with Chris Statlander. You might look at the women's title with Hikaru Shida. Does anybody really care? I mean, I'll put it this way. I'm glad that Shida got the belt again. Shida is somebody who's been with the company pretty much since day one. and has pretty much been, I mean, she's been used in the right way, but I just feel like with her, she should be, again, she's also somebody who I think should be used better. Go down the list. I mean, other women wrestlers from, but my thing is this though. They got to fix that. They got to do something with this, the tag team. And the one thing I said, I remember I said this to somebody when AEW first started. And I remember how loaded their tag team division was. Because you had teams like the Young Bucks. You had teams like the Lucha Brothers. You had teams like Jurassic Express, SCU. I'm trying to think of who else. That was just 4 teams right there. You look at the tag team division right now. I mean, granted, yeah, it's still good. I mean, you got FTR, you got the Young Bucks. It's still a pretty good division. But again, because they don't do the long-term storytelling, why does anybody care? And that's kind of the big thing I'm looking at with this whole thing. Again, guys, keep the comments coming in. I appreciate them a lot. Like I said, guys, you guys are my co-hosts tonight because you guys had me till 10 o'clock. So we're going back into AEW for a second. I mean, I just want to get to some other stuff with AEW. Then we'll get into the predictions for All In. I mean, you look at, okay, I'll put it this way. The fact that they're doing All Out the week after they do it, not even the week, a couple of days after they do All In, to me is completely idiotic. Because in essence, what you're trying to do is you're trying to basically do something that is next to impossible. And it's ridiculous. Let's just call it what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's just, hold on one second. I'm just looking at something here quickly. But no, it's completely ridiculous. And it's something that I don't think they should be doing. I think you should be doing one or the other, or somehow connect them better. That's probably the better way to put it. That's probably the better way to put it. Because when you turn around and you say, well, we're going to have 2 separate shows, but nothing of it. To me, it's like, why? Just give me 1 second here. Nope, wrong one. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, there we go. But, I mean, you look at what they're doing, and to me, it's absolutely ridiculous what they're doing. Folks, this is the first time I'm doing a show by myself in about 4 years. I forgot what it's like doing a show by yourself where you don't have a co-host. I'm not saying it to be mean or anything. I'm just saying I forgot what it was like to not have a co-host. But again, guys, Ryan will be back on next week. Let me just see. Ryan will be back on next week. And again, guys, we have a couple of, I'm just taking a breather right now from the wrestling talk for a hot second. We have a couple of videos being dropped this week, including Mac Davis, who is the host of the podcast that he does with him and Teddy Long. Sorry, that will be dropping probably tomorrow. We also have that interview will be talking about the Hall of Fame because that's actually happened this weekend, which we'll get to that towards the end of the show tonight. We also will have an interview being dropped with Robin Lundberg of ESPN, and formerly of ESPN, now with Mad Dog and Busted Open. And we're also going to have an interview being dropped probably by Friday, more than likely, of my sit-down that I will be doing with Chip Stenson, who many of you know is one of the behind-the-scenes guys at Immortal Championship Wrestling. Going to talk to him about, Immortal, talk to him about, hey, Anthony, what's going on? Hey, Anthony, if you want to hop on, let me know. But, no, it's definitely It's definitely an interesting thing. The whole thing right now with AEW. With what they're doing. I wouldn't say interesting, because like I said, I've been on a rant for the last 45 minutes about it. Obviously, we had our guest Bill Collier on, which again, folks, by the way, if you missed any of tonight's show, go back to our YouTube page. Afterwards, you can watch the entire replay there. If not, you can. All right, give me a second. We will have a co-host. Just give me 1 second, blah, blah, blah. But just give me 1 second here. And again, guys, I appreciate everybody who's watching tonight. It means a lot. And I said this to somebody recently. I don't care if you watch the show live, pre-recorded, live, or afterwards. I appreciate anybody who's watching. Anthony, I just sent you the link. So if you want to hop on for a bit, you can. But yeah. But as far as with AEW, I mean, there's really nothing else I can say about them. They're a good company. I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not taking that away from them at all. But they just got to get some stuff put correctly if they want to succeed and they want to become something. Because I just think, after what we saw on Wednesday with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre match, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't think they're doing anything. I really don't think they're doing anything right now. And I think personally, it's not a good thing. Let me put it that way. And in a few minutes, guys, we're going to get into our all-in predictions, and we'll get into some WWE talk as well, because we got Payback coming up. Another pay-per-view. Shocker. And again, guys, at the bottom of hour number 2, Immortal Championship Wrestling heavyweight champion Garrett Holiday returns to the show again. As it was announced on September 16th, he will be taking on Impact's own Eddie Edwards for the title. So we'll definitely get into that with him, and some other stuff as well, because I'll more than likely pick on the fact that Ryan's not here again. I really think Ryan fears Garrett. I'm just gonna say that. But as far as with AEW, and I'm gonna move on to All In a hot second here. I want them to succeed. I want them to do right. And to be honest, right now, I don't think they're doing anything right. And we are being joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Anthony Blackwell. Anthony, what's going on?
What is going on? Let me just give a little quick framing here. We're good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Ryan's not here tonight, so I was like, anybody who wants to hop on, come on board.
I love it. I just was scrolling through Facebook, just killing some time, and I seen you on, so I stopped and said hi. But yeah, I figured I'd stop in and say what's going on.
How have you been?
I'm good. I'm killing time. Because I leave my house here in about probably 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I fly out of Philadelphia.
Oh shit! Oh, I forgot. You're going to London.
I'm going to London. I will be all in.
All I'm gonna tell you right now is good luck dealing with the people over there, because it's gonna be a crazy sight to be seen.
I'm all for it. The largest wrestling crowd of all time. I've never been to a wrestling pay-per-view in my life, so this is a first for me. I think this is the only second time I've ever left the country, so I'm pretty excited. I'm ready to go.
So wait, hold on. The first wrestling pay-per-view, your premium live event, depends on how you want to look at it.
It's AEW. It's pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's pay-per-view. So the first one you decided to go to is All In.
One of my listeners and supporters of the podcast is like family to me. They have paid for the trip, and I'm very thankful for that. And then so we're going.
Well, I can't say anything. My first AEW pay-per-view, and actually my only AEW show I've been to, was Double or Nothing when they were in Vegas their first year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
I was there when Moxley debuted, and oof.
Well, hopefully I'm there the night that that Adam Cole wins the both titles and leaves their double champ.
Well, actually, I want to ask you this because I was talking about this before. You take out All In because All In to me is an anomaly because of the fact that it's their first time in the UK, and they're going to have 80,000 plus there. You take All In, you put that in any city in the United States. I don't think you're getting 80,000 people.
No, and that's fine.
But let me ask you this though. If you take out All In, what is AEW doing correctly?
I think they're utilizing more of their talent, more of their storylines, and I think from a consumer standpoint, I think they give you more as a pro wrestling fan.
I can see what you're saying. That I was saying beforehand that when you look at what they're doing, like I was looking at it, from like their women's division, for example. If your name isn't Britt Baker, I feel like they don't even utilize you the right way.
That could be fair. I would say if you weren't Brett or Jade for a long time, that could be the same thing. But if you look at their counterpart, if you're not Bianca, Becky, or Charlotte, you're not being utilized to either. Yeah. If you're not Roman in the part of the bloodline, or if you're not Cody Rhodes, you're nothing else on that roster. So I think when it comes down to more who flexes more star power, I think AEW does a better job of utilizing talent.
I can see that, but then look at their tag team division right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you got FTR right now, who what's his face, Cash Wheeler right now is did whatever he did, but I mean, even their tag team division right now, I think has taken a major hit in the last couple of years. Let me rephrase that. Not a major hit, but when you lost certain teams and certain teams broke up.
For example, give me some examples. So you lost
sure.
You lost Jungle Express.
Yeah, you lost. Well, technically, you also lost the Lucha Brothers because they're more Ring of Honor now.
They're still a tag team in the company, though.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that Ring of Honor is still part of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
But you lost Jurassic Express, you lost SCU. There's two teams right there.
Mm-hmm. And they have been replaced with the Rising Acclaimed. They have been replaced with the Rising at the Gun Club. They have been replaced with Bullet Club Gold. I think AEW is starting to stack up a pretty decent tag division.
Well, the other tag team I would throw in there, and I think this is a team that a lot of people don't talk about. I've happened to got a chance to see one of them in action quite a bit. Iron Savages.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing with them. The only thing I will say is whatever the hell they had Bronson do on Rampage, I think it was Rampage or Collision, one of those two. That when they had him in the ring and he said, I'm gonna, you can call me an ass boy or something. I was like, why would you do that? But
they have fun.
Oh, yeah.
I think too many people try to hold AEW to a WWE standard, and because WWE has made it very, very clear that they are sports entertainment, that they are there to bring more a different style of professional wrestling, and AEW is essentially indie wrestling with a budget. It's more fun. The crowd gets more involved. I don't know. I prefer the AEW brand. Plus, I feel like more of my friends that I've seen on the scene or that I've grown with have more of a shot to become AEW superstars or have become AEW superstars. So I tend to lean more of that brand.
Well, that's what I kind of get a kick out of, especially being a part of doing.
I don't know if you know who it is.
I didn't see it. Who is that?
This is Willow's first shirt.
Oh wow! I actually just saw Willow on Sunday at WrestleBash in New Jersey.
She's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and again, folks. By the way, if you ever get the chance, go to WrestleBash. And I think Anthony, you're in PA, right?
Yes.
It's maybe an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
But it's you. I mean, yesterday when I was there Sunday, they had Bischoff, they had Jim Ross, Aubrey Edwards was there, Willow was there. Go down the list. Thunder Rosa was there. I'm just trying to think of the other people who were there. But it's definitely, if you ever get the chance, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. David, I agree with you. I prefer both as well. I don't pick one or the other. I definitely watch both, but I tend to be more entertained on the AEW side than I am WWE. Also, if if I'm really being honest, I think a promotion that people should be watching more, because I think they have a great roster and I think they're putting together really good things. And if you really want to talk about women's wrestling in a division that I think is taken more seriously than both companies, Impact.
I was about to say that Impact to me has probably the best women's division.
Yeah.
In all of pro wrestling.
Yeah. I think every company's women's division is very strong. I just think Impact is booking it better right now.
Yeah, because also I think with Impact, I mean, a lot of it also, unfortunately, and it sucks because I think Impact is one of the most underrated companies out there.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because of the fact that they're not on a big network.
Yeah.
But you look at what they're doing, especially, you know, the whole thing with Bully and PCO.
I can do without Bully.
I'm a Bully fan, so I
could do without Bully. I'm actually kind of sick of Bully being used the way he's being used, and I'd rather them use more younger stars. But that's just me.
But I mean, you don't like them using somebody like PCO, who's about 60,
love PCO. Love PCO. I'll take PCO all day long because PCO is entertaining.
Oh yeah, no, he's especially how he came back after.
Bully's been the same Bully since ECW days.
Oh yeah. But you look at with them, and it's okay. Go back to the whole thing with Scott when Scott D'Amore had his whole comeback, and you know they brought Eric Young back into the picture. That was entertaining, but nobody knew about it unless you subscribe to Impact Wrestling. You know, subscribe to their YouTube stuff, or you happen to be one of the few people who happen to have, you know, Impact on their regular TV.
Yeah. What is it? I think it's actually called Access TV, and no one has access to it, right?
No, it's a very double entendre because it's like, oh yeah, the channel's called Access, but nobody has access to it.
Yeah, and it's not on like any streaming web, like it's not on Hulu, it's not on like YouTube TV. I think the only one it may be on is Sling TV, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Philo, I don't know how you pronounce it.
I never even heard of that one.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I think it's on that one.
Yeah.
But again, most of the way I watch Impact is I watch clips off YouTube.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I see a lot of it because I have some friends over in Impact or people I've been supporting for a long time that are there. So I try to keep up with it as much as I can, but I mostly follow their storylines.
Yeah, and you know, even David said it here. He goes, Scott D'Amore. I'm supposed to comment here. Scott D'Amore is underrated when it comes. Yeah, I
wish he'd not be on camera as much. I'm going to be honest, but I think he's doing a fine job.
Well, okay, you bring that up. Obviously, we just saw Tony Khan on TV last week in the whole MJF.
It was a skit. I don't mind a skit, but Tony Khan's not out there doing matches and getting put through tables, and I don't need that.
Well, unfortunately, with Tony Khan, he doesn't blink half the time.
That's fine. As long as he stays out of the ring, he can hold a microphone, say, "Hey, everybody, welcome," and then can I curse here? Are we allowed to curse?
Yeah.
And then he fucks off, and then we have a show. You know.
Yeah.
He's not out there trying to fist fight he's not out there trying to fist fight his talent.
No, honestly, I can't see him doing that, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope not.
I can't, especially when it was during the skit last week with MJF and Cole, and he went to go make a fist, and he couldn't even make a proper fist.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't see him. Excuse me. I can't see him being a competitor in the ring. I can't. But no, I was actually going to get into All In predictions.
Let's do it.
If you'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, just give me 1 second because I actually had
kind of a shameless plug. I don't get paid or anything from it, but if you guys check out digital.prowrestlingscorecards.com, it's absolutely free to sign up and play, but it is like a wrestling pick'em game. The all-in one doesn't open for another couple days, like a couple more days, because they wait for after Wednesday, but it's completely free. There's like a ranking system, like how you do your picks, but it's not just like who wins and loses. They add like fun stipulations, like how much time do you think the match is going to go for? Do you think it'll be interference? Who's the surprise person? And it's a really fun system. And a lot of my Discord community and content creating communities all in it, and we all play against each other. So if you do join, check the factions tab and join the ABJ podcast one.
Absolutely. And go join. He's one of the better content creators out there.
I'm trying.
But let's get into it right now because we have quite a bit of matches here. We're going to start off with the pre-show match, or as they're calling it, 0 Hour. Aussie Open takes on MJF and Adam Cole for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. How do you see that one playing out?
And new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions.
So you think we're going to get new Tag Team Champions on Sunday?
Yep.
Okay, then I'm going to ask you this then. And I guess I'll ask you this then in regards to the main event. How does that play into the main event then?
And new the AEW World Champion, Adam Cole.
Okay, but now let me ask you this then. Do you think Cole turns heel?
No.
Do you think Maxwell
I think they tease it. I don't think it happens.
Or
I think people are rushing and wanting the turn to happen, and they want them to feud and they want them to hate each other, and they're not going to give you that. This is going to stretch out, and the best way to stretch it out is by having them win the tag team titles and then kind of have the flip reversal now where one's the champion and is MJF going to be still his friend still. There's so many different angles you could play to this because they are both. MJF is regarded as the best guy on the microphone. Adam Cole is no slouch on a microphone. That guy can cut a promo. And not only is MJF regarded as the best heel in professional wrestling, we forget Adam Cole has been the best heel in professional wrestling for the past 8 to 10 years. This dynamic is amazing and it's entertaining. And people need to stop trying to rush the turn to them start fighting again because they can stretch this out and have a lot of fun with it.
Well, you see it as well as most wrestling fans see it. Most wrestling fans don't want to sit there and wait for a turn to happen. They want it to happen. We've been
watching the Bloodline for 2 years.
I thought it was 3 years.
3, 4, who knows? But I think we can go a couple months with one of the most entertaining two people on TV working a program together.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, well, here's the thing. I think a lot of it's going to depend also what happens tomorrow night. Because tomorrow night, I know the Hardy Boys are taking on Aussie Open.
That's a throwaway match.
You don't think
they threw away? They Hardy Boys got tossed away by the Young Bucks 2 weeks ago. Hardy Boys are not contenders right now.
Well, I mean, Jeff Hardy is still trying to recover from the Texas Chainsaw, whatever you want to call it.
Awful.
You didn't like that match?
Horrible.
I gave that match 5 stars. I thought it was the greatest match.
You need your head examined.
I hope you realize I'm being sarcastic right now.
I love Jeff Hardy and I love Jeff Jarrett. That match was unnecessary. I already, as the match started, I said, "Do you know this is going to end WCW style and Leatherface is going to come out?" And they're like, "They're not going to do that." And then, sure, but no, behold, there goes Leatherface.
Anthony, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
I thought it was I'm sorry. You didn't like the fact of the 6-foot guy who wore the really bad Leatherface mask? You didn't like that addition to the match?
No, did not.
Okay. I'm going to quickly ask you about it because I opened up the show, then we'll get back to the all-in predictions in a second. When you saw that match, was your reaction on par with the zombies that came up from under the ring last year in WWE?
Yeah, both. I thought they were both pretty bad. I love gimmicky, stupid stuff. I don't want people to think I'm like a cornet over here where I have no fun with professional wrestling. I'm all about having fun. I'm all about stupid stuff. I'm all about, but it has to be done properly. Most of that match was done in a dark room with red lights and you couldn't see anything. Most of that was done and it was a clusterfuck. It didn't make sense and I just didn't think it was good, and it definitely shouldn't have been the main event. But when sponsorships pay money for a main event match, and that's what we get.
And did you also like the fact that they gave Jeff Jarrett a title?
Sure, why not? At the end of the day, it was so stupid that we might as well at that point.
I mean, I put on the same level as when RoboCop came out to WCW
and Chucky.
Back in the day. It's the same. I agree with you. I'm all for having a good joke. I'm all for the comedy of wrestling, but it has to fit.
Mm-hmm. I'm a giant Orange Cassidy supporter, and everyone who says that they don't understand that, I don't understand how you don't understand it. His character makes sense. That didn't make sense.
But let's get back into All In, because believe me, I had a whole rant to open up the show about the Texas Chainsaw, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. I know there's some, people are going to sit there and go, I can't believe John's giving it 5 stars. Folks, I'm being sarcastic.
No, he's not. He loved it.
Oh, yeah. It was, to me, it was this generation's Flair and Steamboat. Let's call it what it is.
100%.
My prediction for that match, I got to agree. I think we're getting new tag champions. They've done really nothing with Aussie Open. And I think when you look at Cole and MJF, I think you can really, have them beyond Ring of Honor. I think we'll get more eyes on the product, first of all.
And I think they're getting really close to possibly a streaming deal that will include AEW and Ring of Honor together.
Yeah, and I'm very big in, cross promotion when it counts. Because I was very big back in the day when NXT was around, the black and gold NXT and the main roster. So if this can lead to some sort of cross promotion between Ring of Honor and AEW, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
Next match we got here. Oh, speaking about the World Tag Team titles, FTR will be defending the titles against the Young Bucks. How do you see this one playing out?
And well, I would have said and still, but if they drop the titles to the Young Bucks, I can see maybe Dash maybe in a little more issues than that we're leading on to. Like maybe it's like, well, we're not sure what the future of this guy is with his legal problems coming up soon. Maybe we drop the title so we're not being held up with him. So I can see because of most recent events, I can see them flopping them over to the Bucks.
But now, do you think the Bucks then would get a run with the belts, or would they be used more as like transitional?
I think they'll get a small run. Yeah.
This one's a tough one because, and I agree with you about, with what just came out recently about Cash, but on the flip side, I don't know if they really, I don't know. Obviously, I let it say they are allowed to travel to England, so at least there's that part
for now. But that can all change.
Oh yeah,
they can come home and be like, "Yo, you can't travel no more," and now you have 2 tag team champions, and now you have to put on TV that one of your stars has to drop his title because he flashed a gun in public. Like, you don't want that publicity, so you just have him drop it now, and then just let them go away and deal what they got to deal with, and don't put it in because if you have him keep it and it becomes a public issue, then you have to publicly talk about it and announce it, and you don't want to do that in professional wrestling.
No, you don't. And I think with this one, as much as I love FTR, and I think they're one of the greatest tag teams in wrestling, even right now, I think with what's going on, I think you got to go the Young Bucks here. And I hate to say it because I feel like the Bucks right now they'd be 3-time tag team champions if they were to win.
Plus, at the end of the day, you have to look at it this way too. Regardless of what you think or you might feel about the Young Bucks, they have started this company. They are the trendsetters of what we now know as AEW. This is the largest event that they put on in their company's history, and they have held the flag, and they have done everything they can for this company. I think it's a good moment for the Bucks to say, "Hey, we came into England, sold the most tickets of all time, and give them their moment."
Yeah, that like I said, had the issue not come up with Cash, I don't think anybody would sit there and say the Young Bucks. But I think because of what came up, I think it kind of changed a few people's mindsets about it.
Yeah.
Keep things moving here. We got the Fatal 4-Way for the women's title. And Hikaru Shida taking on Toni Storm, Saraya, and Dr. Britt Baker. I have to do it the right way. DMD.
And new. A lot of titles changing hands tonight. Yeah. I think we get the giant pop of Saraya winning the AEW Women's Championship in her hometown in Wembley Stadium, and the place erupts.
That actually would be. I don't think. First of all, I don't think Shida walks out of England with the title.
As soon as Shida won, I said, "Boy, this is transition."
Yeah, and I hate that because I think Shida is a very talented wrestler.
Yes, because Saraya cannot pin Toni Storm, a member of her team, to win the title.
No.
I actually see Britt Baker taking the fall.
Oh, I could see that because I think Britt Baker at this point is Teflon when it comes to that company. A loss here wouldn't hurt her.
I can also say that you might. I would want to say that there's going to be, everyone's talking about at the end of this match a run-in, so we have another big moment with a hometown hero. But I think if Saraya wins the title, I don't think you do a run-in because it takes away from the moment of her winning the belt, because then she has the run-in spot. So everyone's saying that Hayter comes in at the end and challenges her because it's another hometown versus hometown type deal. I don't think that happens. I think Saraya wins. I think you give her flowers and give her a moment, and I don't see her having a long run.
Well,
only because she hasn't worked very much. I think with her injury and for how maybe fragile that injury still is, I think they have been holding off on in-ring work with Saraya so they can lead to this moment. She doesn't have to do a lot of work because it's a four-way. She could roll in, roll out, do small stuff here and there, roll in, win the title, have her moment, came back from injury. I win the title in my hometown. All great. Next week when they're in Chicago, I can see her dropping it.
Well, I think, and I can see them doing that route. I can see it. I hate to say this, but I think somehow Tony gets the title back in Chicago. Especially now with
I don't think Tony, but I can see Britt, or if I was going to do something even crazier, and I know a lot of people are probably going to hate this, but I think her run was very good, and I think her star power is really good, and I think it would make the world title look interesting, and I think the way she lost it was stupid, but I can see a returning Jade making a run for the title. Ooh. Because Jade can go in there and squash Saraya, and Saraya has the star power. Jade just beat a legend. Now Jade is back as that dominating champion, and her squashing Saraya makes sense because it's Jade. And once again, you don't talking from the other side of the curtain and knowing that maybe Saraya can't go the way she used to go, it makes sense for her to go in and just get trounced by Jade. And then you protect her, she doesn't get hurt, and then you drop the title back again. And then you have someone like a Tony Storm or a returning Jamie Hayter to go conquer the beast.
And the only reason I said Tony was, especially now with what she's doing with like this 1950s actress shtick. I think if you give it some opportunity and some legs behind it, I really think you can do something with it.
Yeah.
So
I could see a babyface Britt being the one to take down Jade and having them have a program.
Oh, I could easily. Britt and Jade. I can definitely. You want to talk about probably the two most dominating women in that division. It's those two right there.
Yep.
And I think if you could, because right now you got All In happening on Sunday. I agree about Britt and Jade, but I would hold off on that. And I wouldn't even do that at Full Gear or even Revolution in, beginning of 2024. I'd wait till Double or Nothing.
Okay.
Give it really that marquee match.
Well, your marquee match is Britt winning the title, and then your next move after that, if you wanted to have another marquee match and stretch things out, is a returning Mercedes Moné from injury.
But I think
Mercedes versus Britt Baker is going to sell at any house.
Oh yeah, and I think you wait for that. If you can, first of all, it depends on how long Mercedes is out. How much longer she's going to be out.
Probably around the same time as All In or All Out.
You talking about All Out for next year?
Next year, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that I can definitely see. I can definitely see that and have that be. But I'm saying as far as with Jade and Britt,
Jade and Britt wouldn't touch right away. Jade would win the title. The way I would book it is Jade wins the title in Chicago, and then she just goes on a Jade run again. And then Britt topples her, and then Mercedes comes out.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. Okay, here we go. This is going to be a good one. Because the four guys in this match have about 80 years of experience in pro wrestling. And that is this is the coffin match. I have to stand corrected on that.
This is where I go pee.
Darby Allin and Sting taking on AR Fox and Swerve Strickland.
I love Swerve. Love Swerve. I think Swerve is going to be a big fucking deal. I cannot handle any more Darby Allin Sting. I'm sorry. Sting, I respect Sting for what he's done in this business. I think he's an icon and everything that everyone says what he is. I've never been sold on Sting. I'm not a Sting guy. Even as a kid, I was like, why is he just He kind of looks like the Ultimate Warrior. I didn't know they were tag teams. I was a kid, but he looks like the Ultimate Warrior. And then I watched him wrestle, and I'm like, he kind of wrestles like Bret Hart, and Bret Hart's good, but he kind of bores me. There's no character there. And then he became a character that I watched on a movie, and he was the Crow. And then he became the Joker. And I was like, is this guy ever original? I don't get it. I don't understand. Or, like, he's never come up with anything on his own. And then it's even worse when he's 112 years old and he's just hitting people with baseball bats and making people in the company look like they're chumps. I get it. He's a legend. I get all that. You put over the big guy. But I would have rather had Sting ringside as a manager, and I would have given Nick the opportunity to work with Darby. And Darby's another one. I just don't buy into the Darby Allin thing. I don't see how he uses his body as a weapon, and his body's 82 pounds. Well, they ruined Darby with me when he single-handedly dismantled the House of Black. Like, I can't take House of Black as a serious team, because how are you going to portray them as these giant monsters when the 62-pound guy dismantled their entire stable by himself?
This one to me just seems, this was like, okay, we got to get a big name on the card. Let's just put Sting. And I think also with this one, and I agree with what you're saying, though, but I think with this one, I think they wanted to get that marquee name in a match. And I mean, people look at Sting and, that's your marquee name. But I think honestly with this one, I think you're going to see Darby doing a lot more of the work.
He always does. But everyone who cheers for Darby is also going to be sad when he breaks his neck because he has to keep doing stupid stuff to get over with the fans.
Oh, you mean he's the future version of Jeff Hardy?
Minus the drug and alcohol problems. He's legit going to hurt himself one day. And it's going to happen on camera. And it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. And everyone who's been gaslighting this dude is all to blame.
Honestly, with this one, so who do you see winning this one?
Sting and Darby.
I'm actually going to go on a different one on this one. I think they're going to go Mogul Embassy because I think they're doing something with them.
Yeah, I hope so. But I don't see it, but we'll see.
Let's keep things moving here because, again, guys, we'll be joined in about 15 minutes by Garrett Holiday, ICW World Heavyweight Champion, who is set to take on Eddie Edwards at Immortal 30, happening September 16th up in Westmoreland, New York. So he'll be joining the show in about 15 minutes.
Cool.
We actually just had on somebody who wrestles a lot in PA, actually, Bill Collier. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I have not.
Yeah, we just had him on. He's a good guy.
Nice.
So next match we got here is the 6-man tag match with the Golden Elite of Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page taking on Bullet Club Gold, which is Juice Robinson and Jay White, and Takeshita.
I think the Elite win this. But am I excited to see Kenny Omega and Jay White square off. My favorite wrestler in the world right now is hands down Adam Cole, followed by Kevin Owens, and that number 3 spot has quickly become Jay White. I think that guy is so incredibly talented. He's just good at everything he does. So to see him have an opportunity to square off with Kenny is gonna be really fun to watch.
And what I'm curious about that one is you got Kota and Takeshita in the ring together. That's going to be oh yeah. This one I'm going to have to say I would agree. I think the Golden Elite could take the win here. It just makes sense from a storyline perspective because I know eventually the plan is to do Kenny versus Takeshita down the road, and you can easily go into that from this match because especially you got Don Callis on the side. So I think people have to realize with Don Callis, I think he's going to play some sort of role in this match on Sunday.
Yeah.
In one way, shape, or form. Now we're going to go into the Stadium Stampede match. But yet
one guy will not be in this match now. There has been a change.
Yes. And
which I'm bummed about because I love him.
One of the things I'm just going to say, though, is you're doing a Stadium Stampede match in a stadium full of people.
I'm on the floor, so you might see me on camera. So if you're looking at the ramp, and this is the ring, the ramp's here, the ring's here. You know where Moxley always comes out in this corner and enters that? I'll be in that area. So the hard cam's here. I'll be off to like that section of hard cam to the side.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be off to the right of the ring a little bit. I don't know where in seats if you'll even see me, but that's where I'll be sitting.
Hey, Folks, if you see Anthony, take a picture of him and then send it to him.
Yes. Yes. ABJ is all in.
Because then he'll probably make another shirt of it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I got to say, the designs you're coming up with.
Logos by Hunter. The kid's amazing. Hit him up on Instagram and Twitter. His rates are super good. He makes some of the best logo spoofs and logos you'll get. His turnaround time's amazing, and his prices are, you can't beat it. Hit him up for logos.
Yep. I may actually hit him up, not because I don't like our logo, but, time to spruce it up a little bit.
Yeah. Kid's good.
So we got the Stadium Stampede match featuring Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, the Best Friends, Penta El Zero Miedo, and obviously it was supposed to be Phoenix, but he had to back out of it due to visa issues, from what I'm hearing from reports. On the other side, you got the Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta, and 3 surprises.
Well, we'll have 4 surprises now.
Well,
so this
4
could
surprises.
be really interesting.
Well, let me ask you this now. Not even looking at who's replacing Ray, the other side with Blackpool Combat Club.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know who they would use. Who's your pick?
I got one. How about Santana and Ortiz?
That would be cool. That'd be really cool.
The other one I've heard is, I don't remember his name, but he was the young lion who trained with Moxley over in Japan.
Okay.
I don't remember his name off the top of my head. He was another guy who I've heard is possibly being mentioned as well.
Okay. So if you have Santana and Ortiz, then who would be that guy would be the third?
Yeah, that would be the third guy.
Yeah. I don't know if that's big enough pop though to get people excited.
Who would you put in?
I don't know. That's tough. I'd have to think on that. Yeah,
Well,
I don't even know who you replace Ray with, to be honest with you. I mean, it can't be Danhausen. He's hurt unless it's a swerve.
Yeah, no. Danhausen also in that type of match, and would it fit with him?
Absolutely.
You think so?
He just do comedy stuff.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Unless they somehow pull a major swerve and get somebody over from the UK for that one.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting. I honestly don't know the direction they would go. The Best Friends, only because there's so many names out there already.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people that you're talking about are all Chikara style guys. Who knows? It's tough. It's tough to pick. That one I don't know. That's the one I'm looking forward to because I think it's going to be one of the bigger surprises of the night.
Well, I mean, if Tony Khan wants to play his fandom card again, he can get 3 guys from ECW. Who knows?
Yeah. Very possible.
I would say if all of a sudden we hear Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer come out, then we know which way they're going.
I can see Hook coming out and being a part of Best Friends.
Yeah, I could see that. That I could see because we haven't seen him for some time.
Mm-hmm.
But then who would you have winning this? Or is that going to depend on who they bring in for the
I would say BCC because I think if you have BCC has the 3 special people, then I think they go over.
Well, it's the same thing I said like with Mobile Embassy, and I say the same thing with BCC. I think they're doing something with that. I personally think BCC to me, especially the fact that you don't have Danielson a part of it right now because he's injured. To me, they're coming off very.
Let me present something to you real quick.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Danielson broke his arm and
Yes.
got surgery. Normally, when you get the surgery on the break, it heals quicker, especially because you got pins and rods in there.
Yeah.
Danielson broke his arm, and then I would say maybe 2 weeks later, a friend of mine who's also a professional wrestler broke his arm. Same break, same bone. One got surgery, one didn't. That one returned to on an independent wrestling budget, returned to wrestling this weekend in GCW. Tony Deppen. Daniel broke his arm 3 weeks before Deppen did with the same break, big money, and surgery. Just saying. I don't think you can count Daniel Bryan out as being one of the special guys.
Maybe going off what you're saying, maybe they're saying he's injured right now to kind of leave that doubt. And then also when you hear his music, it's like, oh my God, he's back.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
It's Wembley. Daniel, and like I said, it's also a gimmick match. You don't got to do a lot in it.
No. No, not at all. Let's keep things moving here because, like I said, folks, we'll be joined by Garrett Holiday in a couple minutes. Obviously, I gave my prediction for that one. I agree. I think BCC gets the win here. We got 3 more matches here, and these 3 matches are going to be the interesting ones. We got Will Ospreay taking on Chris Jericho, who, by the way, it was announced today, will be singing his own entrance music.
So
live.
Crazy.
So how do you see this one playing out? Ospreay gets the win here in his home country, or do they give it to Jericho?
Yes, Ospreay wins.
Yeah, when they announced this match, I thought it was kind of odd at first because I was like, "What?" But then once
I thought they were going to do Jericho Omega.
Well, originally, from what they were hinting at, I thought they were going to do Jericho Sting at one point.
Yeah,
kind of have it be Sting's retirement match.
Mm-hmm. Sting's getting a lot of money. He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I just think, to me, when you look at this match, I think, again, we mentioned Don Callis before. I think Don Callis plays a huge role in this.
Yeah, I think Ospreay wins.
Yeah, we got a comment coming in here from Stephen Chambers, who agrees. He says Ospreay with the win.
Steven's one of my boys. That's part of my family right there. That's part of the ABJ community right there.
And he also says, sorry, tuning in late. Nope, Steven, I appreciate it. But let's keep things moving here because we got a couple more matches. For this one, for Ospreay and Jericho, I got to agree. I think Ospreay gets the win here. Jericho, he doesn't need the win. And also, he may be blown up by the time he gets into the ring because the fact he has to sing his own entrance music.
Very true. I've seen Jericho live. It's interesting.
This one I'm really looking forward to for the history that these 2 guys have, and that's Punk and Samoa Joe. Which, first of all, I'm surprised they're having Punk on the same card as the Elite after everything that happened at last All Out.
Money's money, baby. And if you're doing this big event, Punk's got to be there, regardless of what you think of the situation. If you're booking a show and Punk's healthy, you put Punk on it.
Well, let me ask you this now: Does Punk? Well, this is for the real World Championship.
Punk wins.
Do you think? But now, does this close out the rivalry, or do you think this is a rivalry that will continue on for years?
I think it closes out the rivalry.
Yeah. Steven said, going back to the Stampede match for a hot second, he says he can see them moving to All Out despite Phoenix can't go at All Out due to visa issues. Or All In, sorry.
Phoenix not being there is not enough to move the match, I don't think, because I think the surprises that happen for BCC tonight are more valuable, and Phoenix being in there is not enough to say, hey, let's move it for that one guy.
And actually, it's funny, you bring up Phoenix. Phoenix was one of the guys I happened to meet at WrestleBash.
He's an amazing guy. I never met him, but I'd love to.
And it's funny, I actually gave him a bag of our coffee. Which, by the way, folks, if you like a bag of our coffee, you definitely can buy one.
You got him sick, and that's why he couldn't go. He's saying it's visa issue. The guy has diarrhea. No, I'm joking.
Well, actually, it's funny. Hold on. It's funny because we did a show back in February. Yeah, it was February, down in Baltimore. And one of the bags of the coffee that I gave to was the Hangman Adam Page. And all of a sudden, right after that, I don't remember if he had to pull out of Double or Nothing or something happened where he couldn't be at Double or Nothing. And the first thing that went through my mind was... So
that's twice now you've given a talent coffee and they had pulled out of the match previously.
Folks, it's not because of this. Trust me.
Glad I don't drink coffee. I'm staying away. If they try to offer me any, I'm not taking it.
It's some of the best stuff. It's organic Sumatra blend. Hit us up on any social media, on any of the social media sites. We'll definitely get you hooked up, and it's fantastic. And it does not make you want to pull out of any mattress. Just give it up.
Allegedly. You should put that on a label.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yes. When we come up with a new package, it's going to say, this coffee will not force you to leave a match.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think Punk gets the win here. And now the main event, the biggest match of the whole night. Obviously, you gave your prediction before. And, Steven, you're funny. Cole, MJF, main event. Obviously, it's clear you're going with Cole.
How many Adam Cole shirts do you think I packed to go this weekend?
I'm going to say 6.
I could have packed 6. I packed 3.
Are you going to wear them all the same day?
No.
Well, how many days are you going?
I'm going for a week. I'll be there for a week.
Oh, okay.
I leave tonight, get there tomorrow. Well, I get there Wednesday for them, Wednesday night, and then I leave Wednesday morning or Wednesday night there and get here Wednesday morning, afternoonish in PA.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think so 3. Okay, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad at all. But honestly, I think it's MJF. I think MJF retains here.
Interesting.
I think MJF retains. Anthony, if you'd like to stay on with our guest, you definitely can.
It's up to you. It's completely up to you.
It's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
I'll hang out for a little bit.
Okay. Now, guys, we are being joined by York. He's a friend of the show. He has been on the show now the most. I think Anthony's kind of catching up to him at this point. But he is your current Immortal Championship Wrestling heavyweight champion. And on September 16th, he will be taking on Eddie Edwards for the championship that he currently holds. The one, the only, Garrett Holiday returns. What's going on, my friend?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
What's going on, man? That's a very, very, very pretty belt right there.
That it is. And I hold it near and dear to my heart, too.
And Garrett, by the way, I replaced Ryan tonight with Anthony.
We stepped up. It's a big step up. I've never done a collaboration interview. No, it's a lie. I did one before on a previous content thing, but I'm excited. I'm excited and honored to be here. I wish I would have been able to do more prep, but we'll make it go.
And by the way, Garrett, next time you see Ryan, you can poke fun at him.
Oh, that's a dead given. I always do that anyway.
Just tell Garrett Holiday that you're more of a fan of ABJ. You know what I mean?
Anthony, what happened was the joke behind it is every time we've had Garrett on, Ryan has not been on.
He's like your coffee. He has to pull out.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing. I've said this for a while. I think Ryan fears Garrett. Just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. But, Garrett, before we get into what happened at Utica, we actually had your buddy Bill Collier on earlier on tonight. And he actually called you out.
He did.
He called you out. Basically saying that, because I asked him, I said, who do you have your sights on now that you're back in Immortal? And without hesitation, he said you. Because he feels like you're holding his property.
I'm holding his property. As far as I'm concerned, Bill Collier left his property unattended, and he relinquished his title. Now, I will say that he is a very busy man, and I respect Bill Collier, but this isn't his property anymore. It's mine, and I earned it, and I'm going to keep it for a while. But it's kind of funny. I had an interview in the back after my match with Cheeseburger, and it's kind of goes along with this. Anytime anybody wants to step up for this title against me, I welcome it. And I, quote, unquote, said, Immortal puts them up, I put them down.
Again,
Bill,
Mike.
Go ahead, Bill.
Mike, if you go through with this and you end up doing Garrett versus Bill, just give us the credit that we're the ones who got this whole storyline going. I'm just saying. But so before we get into what's happened in Westmoreland, I want to go back to what happened in Utica. Because obviously, I was there, and what a fantastic show, up and down. How did you feel being the world champion in that building?
Say that again.
How did you feel being the world champion, in that building with the level of stars that they had that night?
It was an honor. It was an honor, really, because it was the first time we've been at the Nexus Center, and it was the first time that we did a pay-per-view. To main event that show and just to try to follow all the matches that were on that card, it was an honor. And it was definitely a challenge because there was a lot of great matches on that show. But yeah, no, I loved every bit of it, and I hope that we keep going with it.
I mean, there was, and you said it perfectly. I don't think there was one bad match that entire night.
No.
Even, I'll even say, even Kayla and Becca, I thought did fantastic.
Yes. I think anytime Kayla Sparks wins a match, it's almost usually pop of the night.
Oh, yeah.
The only one that I could probably put against that is when I won this title in my hometown.
It's on par. I'll put it that way. It's on par.
I don't think you were cheering very much there, John, though.
Oh, very funny.
I just see I'm doing a little quick research, and the first thing I noticed is you're getting the hands coming down for 3, and he looks like a kid on Christmas with an N64 in the background losing his mind.
Well, Anthony, the joke is that the other, I'm pulling back the curtain a little bit here right now, but the other inside joke that we have, with Ryan is every time me and Ryan see Garrett, Ryan always turns around and says that I was crying the night he won the title. Because the guy who he won it against is a wrestler by the name of Bin Hameen. Okay. And that I was upset because, I'm supposedly a big Bin Hameen fan, apparently.
You are.
To me. I'm a fan of Immortal Championship Wrestling. How about that?
Yeah, Mark.
We'll go with that, John. We'll go with that.
Hey, Ryan's not here tonight, so that is what it is. But what was other than your match in Utica, what was your favorite match of the night?
That's very tough. I think a lot of guys stepped up to the plate. I think what intrigued me the most was I'll say what intrigued me, and then I'll say probably my favorite match. The one that intrigued me the most, I don't even think was even on the pay-per-view, and that was the Battle Royal, where Pat Sawyer was eliminating literally guys left and right. I think big man is right. I think he will actually be a threat later on. If he keeps going on the railroad that he's going, it's going to be huge. Probably my favorite match. I'll say the guys that were actually first, which was Sebastian Braun, a gentleman by the name of Adrian, and Price Puregold. Those guys set the standard for the show, and that was a very, very big bar that they set for the whole lineup. Those guys actually earned their spots in the Lince Dorado seminar in Cobleskill. And I think they did a damn good job at setting the tone for the match and actually setting the expectation for the other matches to go above and beyond. So I say that was my favorite match. And Sebastian Braun was very interesting and very impressive.
Well, I'll say this much: I thought I agree with you about the triple threat match to open up. I thought it was very impressive with all three of them. The Battle Royal that you were talking about, the biggest spot I popped was with what Brother Jonas did when he eliminated himself. And then all you just see
he bumped into Pat Sawyer.
Yeah, and then you just see him start running up the ramp. I think followed by a few of the other guys from UWE.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got to give him props for what he's doing with that title. He's making it relevant.
I personally didn't see the show, but I did see a clip of Sean Carr kicking the head off of Enzo, or the one now, or Enzo, or I'm not sure what he goes by these days. But Sean Carr, one of the pretty super kicks in the business. So that was a pretty impressive.
I've seen it firsthand, Anthony. Quite a few times, actually. I don't know if you knew, but I got match of the year with Sean Carr last year. So that's one instance. Yeah, I did get super kicked.
Sean is someone in this business that is he sets a standard and sets a bar, and you better bring your A game when you're in there. And so did your opponent that you had to defend that title against. I mean, when you talk about prestigious people, not many people get the nod from people like Jushin Thunder Liger and get personal invites to Japan all the time, like a world famous CB. What is it like to prepare for someone like CB, being one of the top trainers in professional wrestling right now, bringing in some amazing talent, but then you have to defend your title against them?
When I first initially heard the announcement that I was going to face Cheeseburger, I didn't take it lightly because I was one of those guys that literally watched Cheeseburger when he was first coming into ROH, and he was facing the Brutal Bobs, the Roderick Strongs, and delirious and all that. And I knew exactly where he was coming from. I don't think you should doubt anybody of judging by size or anything like that. I was fully prepared to have a fight with Cheeseburger, and we damn sure did. And it was an honor to face Cheeseburger, and I was fortunate enough to shake his hand before the match and shake his hand after the match. And I know I earned his respect that night.
What do you take away from wrestling a guy that's essentially been there? Everyone in this business is chasing that dream to be in an ROH, to be in an AEW, a WWE, a Japan, to wrestle in front of big crowds. And Cheeseburger's someone who's accomplished that. What do you take away from a big win for someone who's been essentially as close to the top as a lot of people have seen in this industry?
I think what I took away from the match is pretty much you have to keep going. You have to keep pushing yourself to be the very best that you can be. And I think there's really no other guy other than Cheeseburger. I mean, there is guys, don't get me wrong, but Cheeseburger, keep pushing to where he is. I can't stop now. He definitely brought something out of me that night, and he made me learn that there's a lot more in the world of professional wrestling, and I really want to learn that. Like my biggest goal right now is to maybe sometime get into Japan. So it was definitely a privilege to face a guy that's learned from Japan and Mexico and the very best in the United States today.
Well, I'll say this much. I thought the match you had with Cheeseburger was great, but when you guys had the thing in the beginning with the taking the jackets off, you had the crowd at the palm of your hands.
Yeah. When it could be as simple as just trying to take your jacket off and then it just gets stuck. I didn't have any sleeves and somehow my jacket got stuck. Just saying.
The one thing I will say, because it was actually, good friend of mine, Billy, who you know her very well. She made a comment to me afterwards. Your theme song got stuck in her head. It got stuck in my head the entire car ride home.
It's really funny because that is a catchy tune. And my wife, God bless her, she was just like, "Do you ever get tired of that song? Because every time you hear it, it's so catchy that it just gets stuck in my head. When are you going to change it? Because I'm tired of it." I'm like, "There's a reason why I keep it, just so you don't forget about me."
But I mean, it was a blast being up there. I mean, another match I just want to talk about quickly before we get to what's happening in Westmoreland on the 16th is the triple threat tag team match with Edge of Hope, Power Supply, and apparently my favorite tag team of all time, the Sons of Allah.
See what I mean, Anthony? See what I mean?
right on, biased.
Yeah, see what I mean?
I love how it plays right into this. But
you did.
What do you think about? How do you think that match played out?
That was a very unique match. That was three completely different tag teams. Probably there's a lot of unique tag teams and tag team wrestling today, but these guys were just so different. I mean, you got the dark and dingy Edge of Hope, and then you just got the cerebrals, and death-defying Sons of Allah, and then you just got Power Supply, who are literally what they say they are. They're all power, and they bring the supply with them. That match set the tone for any tag team that wants to be tag team champions. I wish Hired Gun Inc. was a part of it, but I know they're doing other things, and that's fine. But I think that definitely set the tone for tag teams. I can't wait to see what happens next, because Sons of Allah don't need the tag team titles no more.
No. I will say this much right now. I know we joke about me being the biggest fan of them. I will give them their credit where it's due. They have definitely been the flag bearers of the tag team division of Immortal Championship Wrestling.
I think the Stetsons definitely like set the bar for tag team wrestling. I think as bad guys, the Sons of Allahs have set the tone to go further. And like I said, it's all about the next step up. Who's going to be the next guys to take the tag titles and bring it to the next level? I've always said that, you know, when you're a champion, you always got to be at your top level, top gear, right? And if anybody's going to beat you, they're going to earn it, and that's all there is to it. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, whoever that tag team is, if it is Hired Gun or if it is Power Supply or whoever it is, to eventually dethrone the Sons of Allah, you know damn well it's not going to be an easy fight.
No, not at all. Not at all. And Edge of Hope has been getting around New York, and even I believe, have they reached Pennsylvania yet? I don't think they've reached Pennsylvania yet, but they're all over New York, and they're literally making noise. And I think a lot of guys in the tag team division at Immortal need to realize that these guys ain't messing around. Matic and Siren Rain are two good talents, and people need to respect that in a way. I don't like the way they do things, but at the same time, they're very good talents. I'm not knocking Power Supply. Power Supply, I think they're right there with them. Very young tag team, and I think that they can pull it off. I think they can be tag team champions, but just got to see if they're at top gear when they actually win the tag titles. If they win the tag titles, I mean.
I think realistically, I would love to see, whenever the next pay-per-view is, a fatal four-way with the Sons of Allah, Edge of Hope, Power Supply, and give me Hired Gun as the fourth team.
If Hired Gun comes back.
If they come back.
I haven't seen Brute Van Slyke in a little while.
Yeah, if they come back, I think that would be or if you want to go a different route and you want to add a fourth team, there's a big team in Jersey and Long Island that I think would be very interesting for that. And that's the Birds of the, I think it's Birds of the Sun. I think it's a team of GKM and Leo Sparrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't quite heard of the team, but I definitely I've heard little rumbles in my ears about it.
Yeah, I think that would be, if somehow they can get put into that equation, I think that would be a very big fatal four-way if it can happen down the road.
I guess we'll see. It's all up to Mike King.
Well, all this tag team talk is great, but John, the champion, is here with us tonight, and we're talking about tag teams. We're talking about everybody else but the guy with the gold around his waist. And this is how you become a mark for some people, but also put over the champ sitting in front of you. So you got some. I'm looking through your list here on Cage Match. You got some pretty big wins over some, in my opinion, some amazing talent. You have wins over people like Jay Bougie. You have wins over people like Mike Skyros, who's tearing up the scene. Sean Carr that we talked about earlier. What was another one that jumped out at me here? I just seen more recently. 2 wins over Joey Conway, which I think is one of the toughest dudes in the scene right now as well. HC Loke, a big win over a veteran of the game. The only one that's standing out to me, and I kind of alluded earlier, and you kind of said wins the Rumble early on, you haven't lost against that Pat Sawyer. I know it was a different promotion, but that looks like a guy that has your number in this recent cage match wins and loss records. Big wins over big names, but the big man has had your number in the past. Is that someone you're looking forward to in the future that could be a thorn in your side?
Am I looking forward to it? Absolutely. Pat Sawyer is like that. He's like that arrowhead that you find in a hayfield, if you catch my drift. Pat Sawyer is a very talented individual that needs to branch out and needs to be in the wrestling world, kind of like what I did, kind of like what Mike Skyros did, definitely what Sean Carr did, who is Pat Sawyer's trainer. That loss was in a Texas bull rope match. and he was riding on a high. And even though I brought everything that I possibly could at that time, all it took was a chair swinging, a boot to connect to that chair, and to connect to my forehead. And that's all it took. Do I look forward to a match with Pat Sawyer? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a bull rope match it caters to his style as a big man. You can't move, you can't run, you're kind of strapped to him. Everything about that match leans to his style. So you going against him and just a regular one-on-one style, it changes the game up a lot. And for someone, if you don't know anything about Pat Sawyer, he's legit 6 foot, close to 7 feet tall, and he moves like someone that shouldn't be moving at the size of the man he is. Dangerous, man, dangerous.
Yeah, he is a dangerous guy, for sure.
So, I like I said, I've seen him wrestle a couple of times now. So it'd almost be like when Braun Strowman first came into WWE.
He's faster than Braun. Pat Sawyer is like when Brock Lesnar has that closing speed that a guy like Brock Lesnar shouldn't have. Pat Sawyer has that closing speed. He's not someone as a big man that you can fast foot around or use your agility to get by him, because even if you are the most agile person in the building, Pat Sawyer is just as agile as you, and if he hits you with any one of his limbs, it's game over.
I agree with Anthony. Pat Sawyer was trained by Sean Carr. It's not normal for a guy his size to be that fast. And when Sean Carr trained him, and I was told firsthand, he was trained like a guy that weighs 205 pounds. So it's like, what can you do? He hasn't been a heavyweight champion yet. He's been an international champion, but he hasn't been a heavyweight champion. And he too can line up right behind Bill Collier if they want. But I'm not willing to give this up.
Despite Bill saying that it was his property.
It ain't his property. He dropped the ball. For a belt, I should say.
Yes. Now let's get into what's happening September 16th. Immortal 30, Westmoreland, New York. You're taking on Eddie Edwards from Impact Wrestling. First of all, what was your initial reaction when you heard that was going to be your opponent for the show?
Speechless. Literally speechless, because when just like Cheeseburger, when I was getting into the business, Eddie Edwards was tearing it up. When I was still getting into the business, Sean Carr literally had a 5-star match with Eddie Edwards, and that's how Sean Carr was that's literally Sean Carr's breakout match is with Eddie Edwards. So when I heard Eddie Edwards is going to face Garrett Holiday for this ICW Heavyweight Championship, I was speechless, because now I thought the Matt Taven match that I was supposed to have was going to be my breakout match. The Cheeseburger match I thought was going to be my breakout match. Eddie Edwards, it's a big match, and I'm pretty sure you can tell by my demeanor that I'm pretty ready for it, but I know it's going to be brutal. And believe me, I've got the texts, I've got the messages of everybody saying you're going to get chopped hard. I know. But just like Bill Collier and just like Pat Sawyer, I know Eddie Edwards is coming for this. I know he's not going to let this go, even though it's not his. I'm ready for it, and I will beat Eddie Edwards. That's the confidence that I have.
I don't doubt that at all. I've seen it already. Like I said, I was there when you won the title in Cobleskill. You see, I am pronouncing it correctly this time. But I think realistically, the fact that your first opponent was Cheeseburger, now you got Eddie Edwards. I personally think it's just my opinion on it. I think it's ICW management has a lot of faith in you, that they're giving you these big name guys because they know that you're going to basically beat them and move on to the next person.
Yeah, I mean, being a
See,
champion.
I look at that differently. I'm sorry to cut you off, champ.
Go ahead.
I look at it as you have a promotion that has a guy that's there week in and week out, month after month after month, grinding up for a title shot, has a whole rocker full of people, and they say, let's get the guy from Impact Wrestling to come in here, take this title off this guy, and we're going to use his name to get our company over. I look at you as the guy who's there every month saying, bring in your Impact champions, bring in cheeseburgers, bring in all these names. It ain't going nowhere. Line them up, I'll come knocking them down. That's how I look at it.
Same way. Although I respect Mike King's decision, I respect the management team of Immortal. I feel like they were just giving me the guys to possibly even take this and give this title a name. I'm pretty sure I've already given it a name for quite some time. I mean, I've only missed 2 shows of Immortal ever since its beginning, and it's been alive for 5 years. So, I mean, when I first initially got this title didn't have to make me. I made it. Now I'm a champion, and now I'm facing Cheeseburgers, the Eddie Edwards, and whoever else they want to bring in. I'm fine with it. You're just adding to my resume. You know, I'm okay with it. They want to keep bringing in guys to try to take this title. Like I said before, they put them up, I put them down. Plain and simple.
Then there's another guy who I want to bring up because you two have had a bit of a back and forth recently on Facebook, and that's Shane Stenson.
Oh, baby, icy hot.
And I have to preface his name because the last time I mentioned his name, I called him Steve Stenson.
That's okay.
But what do you view Shane as somebody else who is on that list as far as, okay, give him to me, I'll knock him down?
The kid's got a lot of talent, but he's got a really big mouth. I understand that he beat Dirty Dango. I understand that, but it was a cheap win. Dirty Dango had him that night, and you've seen it, John. You've seen that he had Mr. Shane Hot Stuff Stetson. And all it took was one cheap win in order for him to get a big head. Do I view Shane Stetson right now as a threat? Not really. Not really. He's got a lot of learning to do, in my opinion.
Anthony,
the Northeast wrestling scene is absolutely flooded with some of the most talented people in the world. I mean, if you look at most of the stuff that you're watching on TV now, whether it's WWE, AEW, Impact, professional wrestling, most of them have their stomping grounds have been the Northeast wrestling scene, whether it be New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. I'm slowly learning more about the New York scene, but from what I know out there, the young talent up there is just as good and just as important. Who are some names on the scene right now, maybe up in that New York area, that may or may not even be immortal superstars that you think you should be keeping an eye on, or some names you probably want to face off one day?
Bill Collier's on the list. There's plenty of other guys like the Kevin Bennett's. I'm sure you may have heard rumblings of him. I know he does a lot of stuff in ESW and stuff like that. He's one of the guys that is on my list. I have no problems in facing Mike Skyros, but we all know who Mike Skyros is. Young up and comers. There's a lot. There is a lot. I'm trying to remember. Kevin Bennett is the top of the list, though. Vince Valor, I think I have like a little bit of a grudge to kind of accommodate, because he actually took my Northeast title because he cheap shotted me with a title. Not that he doesn't have the title anymore, but I'd like to get some redemption on that. He is a good talent. He has like this mentality of trying to get over on everybody very cheaply. So, like I said, that's how I lost my Northeast title, was a shot to the head with my own title. But there's Kevin Blackwood, who's in California now, but he's originally from the Buffalo area. There's Robbie Vegas. There's a couple students in Excite Wrestling that I think will one day deserve it, like Tyler Reed.
That kid is gonna be something.
Yeah,
I watched his debut match, and people aren't supposed to do what they do in their debut match. What that kid's doing. Once again, when you have the same blood as Sean Carr and you're being trained by him, that helps.
Exactly. He's definitely got something going for him. I think he's even got something going with like that guitar promo that he put up.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually one guy there's actually two guys. They are in a tag team, and they're very talented individuals. But they're doing so much for the tag team division right now that it probably benefits them more if they just keep going with that. That's TJ Epics and Shale Connors.
I couldn't agree more.
Those are two very good talents. I had a name pop up in my head and I just forgot it.
It's probably a good thing for a lot of singles wrestlers that TJ Epics and Connors are working as a tag team and not solo competitors.
Yeah. They're very good talents. I'm pretty sure they can run this area if they wanted to. But they're doing very good for the tag team division, and that's what's needed. They need, like I said, setting the bar, setting the tone for any division is where it's at. You just got to be able to get to their level and be over it. I'm sure there's plenty coming up sooner or later. The two guys that I actually haven't been able to face, and I know they're not up and comers, they're veterans. Actually, three. That's Nick Ando, Cheech, and Colin Delaney, who I haven't been able to face yet in my career, and they're all from the New York area. That's all I can really think of right now. I'm sure there's plenty that I'm forgetting that are very talented individuals that I would definitely love to face at one point.
What? I think we lost our host. He might have had some connection issues.
Oh boy, John. It's Hacker Hameen.
Yeah. He was so excited about talking about this tag division that I think they cut his internet off for a second here.
Probably pretty
That's
much.
What kind of hat we rocking here? I've been seeing the side there and I see a color scheme, but I can't see what team you're wearing. Oh, the Steelers. I thought you were gonna make my heart happy. I thought that logo was burgundy and gold, and then you turned it around and it kind of not as
gold. Are you a Washington Commanders fan? I
am a Washington Commanders fan in the heart of PA, and I'm a Commanders fan. Imagine that. I'll be moving to. I might be moving to Philly soon, and it's gonna be hard to. It's gonna hard to be a Commanders fan to live in that city, but we'll figure things out.
So you easily got to turn into an Eagles fan.
No, I respect the Eagles more only because their team isn't a bunch of terrible people that I don't respect. Like how do you not like Kelsey? Kelsey's one of the most entertaining people of all time. But but Commanders are doing all right. We got rid of our terrible owner, and we're turning things around. But we're not here for football.
That's true.
Is there any other? And I don't want to put over any promotion. I know you're rocking the Immortal Championship, and I think a lot of this interview is probably catered to that. But until he comes back, are there any other promotions, or states, or places you want to work that are on your radar?
ESW is probably one of the bigger ones, at least in New York State, that I'm interested in. I'm hearing a lot about Smash Master Wrestling. I'm interested in them too. It's just trying to find the right date to get there, essentially. Fight Life over in Rhode Island is another place, but that's usually during the week, so I usually can't make those. But eyes are really set on ESW. I know I would like to be in contact with them sooner rather than later.
Nice. Welcome back, John.
Thanks. Sorry about that. Internet screwed up. I blame Ryan.
You blame Ryan. He's not even here.
Yeah,
no, it was Hacker Hameen, your favorite friend. He was just making sure that everything's cool and you're not talking trash about him.
Oh, yeah, sure. One other guy who I wanted to bring up before my internet decided to crap out on me, who I would love to see you two in a program. And you're gonna poke fun at me for who I'm about to say. Blaze Haram.
What is with you and the Sons of Allah?
You got a man ball
I
for this guy.
told you, Anthony. What's going on? Is this
Are you getting paid?
sponsored by the Sons of Allah?
No.
Are you sure?
I think they are talented guys.
That's understandable. The last match that I've had with Blaze Haram, it was very physical and very hard-fought battle. Obviously, I came up on top. That was when I had the Northeast title, and that's pretty much was the proving point of when I was the ICW Northeast champion. And then I would go on to face the Sean Cars and then the Siren Reigns. And then I lost it against Vince Balor. But then I gained this the next month, so it was all good.
Yeah.
There was no rematch clause, as Father Derek would say.
And again, guys, to answer anybody's question, no, the show is not being sponsored by the Sons of Allah. Okay.
To be determined.
That on paper.
We have to do some research. We have to make sure.
Probably. You know, I like you, Anthony.
Everyone loves ABJ. That's just how it works.
Yeah, people just tolerate me.
That is not true. Every time I see you, I have a smile on my face, John. Except when you literally pop for Ben Hameen and Blaze Haram.
Wow. Thanks, Steve. Come on. There we go.
Investigation begins. Thanks,
God. Steve.
Yeah, we gotta check the books.
Yeah.
We have to check the books of around the podcast here and make sure. See who's sponsoring this. Yeah, see where this money's coming in from. Taking the Saudi money here.
Wow. Oh, jeez. But
you do it to yourself, John.
I'll be the first one to say it. God, my glasses are getting foggy right now. I'll be the first one to say it. That the show doesn't make it for 2 years if I don't poke some fun at myself.
You do a good job.
That you do.
Yeah. Hey, it's the only way I can do it. If I sat here every week for 2 hours and was serious and was, 100% wrestling, nobody would be watching.
Well, how about we throw a non-wrestling question out here? So, Garrett, besides professional wrestling, how do you unwind? What are some things you're into? I know we talked a little bit. You like your Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm sorry to hear that for you. Even though black and gold is some of my favorite color schemes, it was my high school color team. But anyway, what are some things that you do to unwind when you're not carrying around, 10, 15 pounds of gold over your shoulder?
Well, first off, to answer your football question, I don't think I feel sorry for myself for a team that has 6 Super Bowl rings to the Washington Commanders that have
3.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but we have at least 3. We have at least 3.
Yeah, well, you can't really say the other name, so that was when they were there.
Who knows? They're trying to petition to bring it back, which is insane to me. We don't need any more distractions. Just give them a different name and keep moving on.
I mainly work when I'm not carrying this belt, or when I'm not wrestling in general. I do like to dabble in a lot of video games when I can. It's been a little bit less as of late. I used to do a lot of Twitch streaming. Gave that a break for a little while because when I had my gallbladder surgery, it took some time off, and I wasn't even able to sit in this room and play video games because my stomach was all. What really happened is they found something else, so they had to make another incision. So it was a little bit painful.
It wasn't the coffee, was it? You didn't drink this coffee that they're trying to peddle, is it?
No. Hey,
it already took out Hangman Adam Page and now Ray Phoenix. I don't know. You got to be careful with that stuff.
By the way, I was told I was supposed to get some of that coffee at this past show, and I didn't get any of it.
Oh, I heard Blaze got like 4 bags.
Oh,
That
Jesus.
is very, very unprofessional, John.
They filled
Wow.
his trunk up with it, I heard.
Wow, Ryan's not here, and I still get
Champion.
roasted.
I am the leader that's the helm of the Immortal.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Garrett, I'm going to say this. Garrett, I'm going to say this right now. Obviously, I'm unfortunately not going to get the show in September. The show in October, I will be there, and you will get one personally hand-delivered by me.
Go ahead. Give it a plug. If
you like to buy the bag of our coffee, which does not make you want to leave wrestling, you definitely can. Hit us up on any social media site, and we can definitely get you hooked up. As Ryan calls it, it's organic crack. Ryan's words, not mine.
So what games have you been working on when you are playing games? What do you like to play?
Believe it or not, it's a lot of Total War games. So it's a lot of thought processes. My favorite so far has been Warhammer. I just got like the Shogun game, and I know that's a little bit older, so it's new to me. But the like PS4, PS5 type of games I've actually been playing. I've been replaying The Last of Us, so I've been digging that.
I just started Days Gone, and then the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre dropped, and I don't want to touch it until I get back from London. So it's downloaded and it's just sitting there waiting. And then Starfield drops soon, so that's also
not a Starship drop guy, but the Texas Chainsaw game actually seems pretty interesting.
Looks like a lot of fun.
Does look like a lot of fun.
What do you got, John?
What, as far as me playing video games, I haven't played a video game in probably about a year since my TV decided to take a bump a couple of years ago.
There you go. Steve asked, what kind of movies do you like? Are you a movie guy?
Me? Yeah, I'm a big movie guy. I like the John Wick movies. Big Rocky fan. As of late, the John Wick movies have been my favorite. The stories were amazing. I like how each individual movie was based on like a build towards the end. So just like wrestling, it was a great it was a great story to tell. Did you guys watch the last one?
I have not yet. No.
Yeah, not yet. So I can't really say it to you, but
I'm very uncultured, so I probably haven't seen it yet either.
So here's a question I asked on my show because I had Big Dust on. That's a future guest coming up, and he has his birds on film with him and Eric Khalid. They do movie reviews. With the Von Erich movies coming out, we got Hulk Hogan movie coming out, and a few other wrestling movies. I'll ask both you, John and Garrett here. Another wrestling movie. Who gets the movie and who plays the actor that plays the wrestler that we're gonna get?
Cool.
John, you go first.
I got to think about that one.
My dream is Nick Cage doing the Nick Gage movie. Just because I think it'd be hilarious.
That's a mouthful in itself.
Nick Cage as Nick Cage, and it's just like him robbing a bank. Everyone get on the ground. That'd be great. I want it so bad.
I could totally imagine him say MGK all day.
I was in a gas station with Philly Mike, and I don't know if you're familiar with Philly Mike Swanson, but the guy smells like a distro plant when you're he likes the greens, we'll say, more than Leo Sparrow. And we're in a gas station and the whole place smells like a greenery, and this cop walks in and he stands between me and Mike, and Mike's wearing his GCW hoodie, and the cop looks at me, he looks at Mike, and he just goes, MDK all day, motherfucker. And I was like, this is the coolest cop ever.
I would probably pop for that too.
Yeah, I lost it at the gas station. It was like 7 a.m. and I lost my mind. But John, pick what movie, what wrestler gets his own movie, and who plays the wrestler.
Oof. I mean, if we're going off of just, it would be funny to see in an action. Have the movie about The Rock and have The Rock play The Rock.
The Rock playing The Rock. Okay.
Huh. You know, it's kind of funny. I think it would probably work if he was a little bit younger. I have to think of his actual name, but I would like to see a Rowdy Piper movie with, I think, what's his name, Nick Nolte.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
see
Yeah, I can see that.
where I'm going? Or oh man, who was the guy that played in Rookie of the Year? He was the pitcher. I can't think of
Oh
his
shit, I don't know his
Dennis
name.
Quaid.
No, not Dennis Quaid. That's Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, wrong movie.
Spaceball.
It's a good movie though. Good movie. But you kind of know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
though.
who are you talking
Yeah.
about?
I can imagine both of those guys doing that, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name, but I would like to see Rowdy Piper be played by one of those two.
Wait, you're not saying wait, not
You talking
Gary
about Charlie
Busey,
Sheen?
right? Are you saying Gary Busey as Roddy Piper?
Yeah, if he was a little bit younger.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up on my phone and see who played the pitcher in Rookie of the
I don't know
Year.
who played the pitcher, but I just looked at the cast list of Rookie of the Year, and Gary Busey's on the list. But are you talking about the little kid who was the pitcher?
No.
Okay.
That's the older one. So it is Gary Busey.
Have you seen his new TikTok? Buttered. What does he say? What is buttered sausage and why is it doing it? And it's in my face and I hate it. And they're like, the buttered sausage is not your jam. I don't do jam. I do honey and I kiss it on the lips. And he's just like, he's just lost his mind, Gary Busey. Charlie Sheen, as Steve says, it might have been Charlie Sheen. So I think Charlie Sheen was the pitcher in Wild Things.
Yeah, Wild Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
That was his name in the movie. It's Major League.
Major League, yeah, major thing. And GCW did have a show this weekend at the Showboat. They had 2 shows, I think, Saturday and Sunday. It was Homecoming, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially with Cardona with his Ghostbusters entrance.
Oh, he's killing it. He's doing so well.
Killing
the game.
Didn't beat Mike Skyros though.
Didn't beat Mike Skyros. No, he did not. Just
No,
saying.
he did.
Mike Skyros is killing it.
He is. SCK. For life, baby. Salt City Kills.
Anthony, you got anything else?
I got nothing. I appreciate you having me on. I hope I didn't shit the bed too much.
No.
I was thrown in here last minute and I had to quick come up with stuff, but we got it done.
Totally. No, I've been waiting to actually do like a podcast with you, Anthony. So it's actually kind of cool, even though it's not yours.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to be on one with you.
So do I add you to the list? Is that what we're saying? Do I put you on the list so when I come back you're on my list here?
Sure,
right.
man.
You just made the list.
Oh,
There's a lot. It's a big list. It's gonna be a little bit.
Oh, Jesus! I guess I'll be on there.
It might be in 2024, but we'll get you in.
By the way, Anthony, I know you had said to me, for me to be on, you would have to be on here. Does that put me on the list too?
You know what, John? You're already on the list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're right there.
So am I scheduled like March of 2025?
I have to figure out when I get back from Europe. I have first dibs. Just putting it out there. First dibs is Kerry Silkin. Kerry Silkin's getting first dibs.
On in Europe?
I'm going to All In.
Oh, you're going to All In?
I'm going to All In, yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, don't gamble All In. Just go to All In.
I'm gambling on Adam Cole, baby. That's all I'm gambling on.
I figured you were the Adam Cole guy.
I love him.
But Garrett, it's always a blast having you on. I think now you've
absolutely.
I think now you've basically taken the ranks of being on the show the most of any guest you've ever had on.
Hey, I told you anytime you ask me, I'm gonna definitely try to make it. So
yeah, and like I said, I don't look at you as a guest anymore. You're a friend of the show.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. For
so
sure.
Before we let you go though, what would you like to promote? Where can people find you on social media?
First, I'd like to promote the actual show on where are we at? September 16th in Immortal at Westmoreland. I'm obviously facing Eddie Edwards. Bill Collier's on the show. Richard Holliday's on the show. Brett Hollister, who's going to be a new guy. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Brett Hollister, but he's a very God-gifted talent. I can't wait to see whoever he faces. Another shows would be the Excite shows. One got postponed to September 9th. I will be on that one. But the other two shows before that would be September 2nd and 3rd. I will not be on that, but Mike Skyros will be. One is a Rumble Pony show in Binghamton, and the other one is over in Horseheads, I believe, which has Super Crazy on it. And September 30th is Kay's Last Stand. That's the name of the show. That's also Excite. And as far as my socials go, it is at Garrett Holiday, all lowercase, on Instagram, and then it's at Holiday Garrett on the X. On the X, I'm pretty sure. Do both of them? They should come up on either or. So, and on Facebook, it's just regular Garrett Holiday.
And Anthony, I'll let you promote what you got coming up as well.
So I was doing podcasts 3 a week, and the numbers were terrible because it was putting too much out at one time. So I cut it down to one a week. Got, like I said, some life changes coming up. So I have enough content now to last me till like October. I recorded almost every day this month while I was unemployed. So there's a lot of great content coming. This week we just dropped Jacob Kelly, which is a LGBTQ educator as well as a drag queen, which is super exciting because you get to learn a lot about maybe another culture or lifestyles that are of your own. The ABJ podcast is for everyone, not just the independent wrestling scene, but that's where I lean heavily on. And the next guest coming up this Thursday is someone we talked about on this podcast. Tag team specialist that we say, please stay in the tag team division or you're going to cause some problems for everybody else. TJ Epics will be on the podcast this Thursday.
Say Ben Hameen.
No.
Would have been right on that.
TJ Epics will be on the podcast this Thursday. So that's a great one to learn about his story and how he came through the business. But I'm Anthony Blackwell Jr., or ABJ Podcast, anywhere you find podcasts or over on YouTube.
And of course, you guys know who I am. I'm, the guy who apparently loves the Sons of Allah. That's been thrown on me. I'm going to get a shirt made of that, by the way, before the next Immortal show that I'm at.
I was digging up on him a little bit while we were talking, and his shirt, the ECW shirt of his, where it's like Allah F and W is the greatest or something. It's such a good shirt. I love it.
But I will actually be upstate this weekend for the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame as they're having their third gala this weekend. I'm coming up Friday for ECPW as well.
Who's getting inducted?
Slew of guys. Bret Hart.
Bo.
Dave LaGreca from Busted Open.
That's a good one.
There's gonna be a slew of them there who are getting inducted.
I'm not a Bret guy, as you can tell.
But I'm looking forward to the ECPW show coming up. My first one I'm at. That I'll be going to, so it'll be fun to be up there. And it's always a fun time. I actually finally get to see the damn Hall of Fame at this point. Had not got a chance to see it yet. So I'm looking forward to that.
Give Bret Hart some of your coffee.
I don't know if he's going to be there.
He won't be if you give it to him, Naja.
I know the Nasty Boys are going to be there.
PA Boys.
Doink the Clown is going to be there. Kayla Sparks, actually, from Immortal, will be there as well. I'm trying to think of who else. Tony Atlas, I think, is going to be up there.
I got an argument with Tony Atlas one time. We got an argument because he said that the Roddy Piper Jimmy Snuka coconut spot didn't happen in Legends at Hamburg, and I go, it certainly did. And he goes, no, it didn't. I was here that night, and I know it didn't happen. I go, you're wrong, and we argued about it.
Again, guys, I'm mentioning this one more time. If you like a bag of our coffee, and no, this does not make you have to leave wrestling. It's actually good stuff. Hit us up on any social media site. They're $10 a bag, and we'll get you hooked up. So that's definitely part of it. And
is it like flavored or is it just regular roast?
It's regular roast, but it smells so goddamn good.
Love it.
Yeah, Blaze Haram got like 4 of them, and I got none.
Yeah. There's footage. It looked like they were putting moonshine in the back of a car. There was that many
Heck, I even
totes
think-
of coffee going in there.
I think Ben Hameen even got another one.
You know what I need? I need a beer sponsor. I need ABJ beer. That's what I need.
I know a beer distributor that might actually be able to help you with that.
Oh yeah, but they're going to be up in New York, right? So it's gonna be. What is it called?
Stone, they're called 16 Stone. They're actually the sponsors for Immortal.
Oh, nice. We're Immortal's upstate, right? Like upstate New York.
Yeah.
I went like the Finger Lakes area. That area. There's a brewery up there. I'm a big fan of called Warhorse Brew Company. They're amazing. They make really, really good beers.
I'll have to see about doing that.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
I forgot one thing to promote. It's actually this Friday. It's a benefit for cancer. The show is called Lituation. It's like a second brand of Test of Strength Wrestling. It's Legacy is Timeless. I will be facing an individual by the name of Young Boy. I'm sure that's not his name, but that's what he's being called. And he's actually facing me for this title.
Oh, okay.
And that is Friday in Connecticut.
Test of Strength's a good school, man. A lot of good people come out of there.
It's
a prestigious place.
That it is. Slick Wagner Brown has done a really nice job with developing a lot of great talent. Apparently, Young Boy is one of them, but his protege, Jordan Rowe, is another one of them. But he has to send his lackey to try to get a belt. I don't know why he just doesn't play me himself. Apparently, he's the gravel god.
I just want to make one quick mention. Steve has tried the coffee before, so then nobody thinks. Hold on, there we go. He even said it's really good.
Steve,
and he
I
also
wouldn't
said,
know.
How about this, Garrett? I'll do you one better. Not only will I give you a copy, wow, I'll give you a bag of this next time I see you. I'll have me and Ryan sign it for you. How about that?
Why would I want Ryan to sign it? I'd rather have Anthony sign it.
Oh boy.
Oh shit. Okay. How about I'll have
get him going? I don't know what will.
Oh, great! That phone call tomorrow is going to be oh boy.
ABJ all happened.
But no, yeah, I'll do you one better. I'll sign it for you.
No, you like Sons of Allah too much.
I do have a merch that is A B F and J, or no A F and BJ is the shirt. Just putting it out there.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
I also have a I'm a Paul Heyman guy spoof, and I didn't want to put I'm a Paul Heyman guy or girl. I wanted to include everybody, so it just says I'm a fan of A BJ, and then podcast, of course, really small, hidden in there. You know.
I got it. Wow, that's cool. I dig it.
I don't know where we're going with
creative. Very creative.
It's
But
not
guys,
coffee, but it's in there. You know what I mean?
Again, this coffee is
Buy the coffee.
great. This coffee is great stuff. It does not.
If I drank coffee, I would try it.
This coffee that he's holding up is good stuff. There you go, Anthony. You almost had it. It's right here.
Other way.
I feel like I'm
Other way
pointing
up.
at Gengar. On my screen, you're over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
yes,
right.
guys.
You're guy.
Yeah, he's over to my right. Right there. There it is.
Yeah.
That's the coffee you want. Even though I've never tasted it because he gave 4 bags to Blaze Haram and 2 bags to Bin Hameen, the Sons of Allah.
Okay. Again, Garrett, when I see you in October, you will get a bag personally delivered by me.
Why not September?
I'm not going to be up in September.
Why? Where are you going to be?
It's a Jewish holiday.
To where?
It's a Jewish holiday.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What's the holiday?
Rosh Hashanah.
Okay, I believe you.
Jewish New Year.
All right.
Nice.
Can't doubt that.
Yeah.
I'm not educated on it, so you win.
I'm being straightforward.
Winner,
I'm being straightforward.
winner, chicken dinner.
Got one more comment coming in here, then we'll wrap up.
Paola.
Good friend of. This is an organic Sumatra blend. I'll tell the story quickly. It's done by our friends over at Motor Oil Coffee, as you can see in the logo right there. They have a couple locations: Schenectady, Troy, Albany. We got, come on. Okay.
So what you're saying is I should just probably go to the Albany Distribution Center because I'm never going to see it. Because you're going to forget again.
No, I will not.
Put a note in your phone right now. Bring to this.
Whatever the October show is, even if Ryan isn't coming up there, I will personally come up and hand you a bag of coffee.
I might have to videotape it.
Okay.
I'm going to send it to ABJ.
Yeah, clip this. Someone clip this and set a reminder.
I will not forget.
I trust you, John.
I will not forget.
Until you mark out.
Also, thank you, John, for letting me join into this and doing a co-interview with you. I haven't done one of these in a minute, and I had a really good time. I did put this out on my Discord as well as all my pages for people to come and support your channel. You guys work really hard, and appreciate more people in this space doing it and giving independent wrestling a voice, and for more people to understand and hear their stories as well as support their brands and their promotions that they work for.
Agreed.
That's all I try to do. And I mean, we have an interview coming up. Recording it tomorrow, probably be up Friday with Chip Stenson. So look forward to that.
Nice.
One of my trainers.
Yes, he will be on, and we'll probably talk about Shane some more.
He's not nothing much to talk about. Hot Stuff? That's his name. Hot Stuff Shane Stetson. More like Baby Icy Hot. I like it.
Well, he had a nickname for me. He called me Schmuck at the show in Utica.
Schmuck.
Wow.
Well, because honestly, that one, blame Ryan for that one.
Why do I got?
But I'll explain why.
Did you?
Because he was the one who told. I actually called him Steve. I had a brain fart. Okay? I had a brain fart. It's the story of my life. But guys, tonight has been a fun show. It was definitely different. I also want to thank Bill Collier for joining the show earlier, even though he did call you out, Garrett.
I wasn't here for that. I would have defended you.
Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it. Like I said, I respect Bill a lot. This isn't his property anymore.
And by the way, Steve,
months ago.
Steve, to answer your question, yes, that's what a schmuck means. I'm not going to say it on air because we're on air.
You said it.
No, what it means.
Oh.
Hopefully, if you can read the comments below, you'll see what it means. But again, guys, appreciate everybody who watched. You can catch us every Tuesday night. You can catch any of the videos that we have coming up because, like I said, folks, we got a few videos dropping the next couple of days. Mac Davis will be dropping this week. Robin Lundberg will be dropping this week. Chip Stenson will be dropping this week. So definitely stay forward to that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It costs you nothing. It does wonders for us. It helps us out a lot. And just, buy the coffee, follow us on Facebook, comment on the show, and all that stuff. And again, guys, Ryan should be back next week. And, we'll be back next week for another installment of the Around the World podcast. Anthony, thank you so much for hopping on with me tonight. I appreciate it a lot. Garrett, damn well we may bust each other's chops, but you are a great dude, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Anthony, for coming on, by the way.
Anytime, man. I had a blast.
But for all the guys here, this has been another episode of the Round Ropes Podcast, and we'll catch you guys next time.